Fresh off the season opening loss to Tennessee down in Atlanta, Fran Brown and the Orange return to Syracuse, looking to level their record at 1-1. It's a Northeast regional rivalry as UConn's made the trip west for this one, the second of 4 straight seasons. UConn and Syracuse will go head-to-head. The Orange on the field for the home opener at the JMA Wireless Dome, looking to go to 1-1 on the year. UConn trying to move to 2-0. Hey there, everybody, alongside Craig Albert, Bill Spalding, glad to be with you for this one. You know, if you're Syracuse, you're 2 under Fran Brown, and you're trying to build off that 10-win season, it's imperative that you go to 1-1 today and not fall to 0-2.
Yeah, Fran Brown really reignited a lot of excitement around this program with what they were able to do a year ago. Obviously, this year they start off with a loss, so to rebuild that momentum, they need a win today. But one thing about Fran Brown, you have to go back to 2001 to the last time that anytime he's coached, he's been a part of 2 losses in a row. Yeah,
he's not a coach who loses frequently. Meanwhile, for UConn, huge opportunity. They want to get into a Power 4 conference. This is like an audition today.
Yeah, a Power 4 win can be a big building block on their resume towards maybe down the road getting into a Power 4 conference, so a big opportunity for them.
Let's talk Syracuse on offense. You mentioned forward momentum. How about the momentum of this bruising running back, Yassine Willis, who can run through you?
Yeah, he's a player who flashed a year ago, but coming out of high school had a strong resume, nearly 3,000 yards between his sophomore and senior year. He not only has the size to be able to break tackles, create yards after contact, but also good agility and acceleration to be able to bounce plays to the outside. He could be a big part of their passing game by allowing them to get their running game going.
He had 3 touchdowns against Tennessee. Syracuse also threw the ball 40 times in Steve Angeli's first start with the Orange. UConn's coming off a blowout win over FCS Central Connecticut State. For the Huskies, it is a 3-headed monster on offense, and it starts with a 7th-year collegiate quarterback, Joe Fagnano.
Yeah, quite simply, their quarterback brings a lot of experience, but he has a nice complement of weapons around him. They are a heavy zone run team, and Cam Edwards has excellent vision within that scheme. And Skylar Bell may be one of the most underrated wide receivers in all of college football. Over 100 yards and 10 catches against Syracuse last year, and really kicked off their offensive firepower a week ago with their first 2 touchdowns of the 2025 season.
Bell had a chance to go to Michigan in the offseason in the portal, decided to come back to UConn. Shows you what the UConn players think their program is building under Jim Mora. We'll see the Syracuse offense first. UConn won the toss and deferred to the second half. So Chris Freeman for the Huskies will kick it away to the burner, Malachi James, the Syracuse return man. And James, who runs track for Syracuse, will let it go over for a touchback. The Orange and Steve Angeli will get it at the 25.
You know, it's this offense a year ago was led by Kyle McCord, who was really one of the most prolific passers in all of college football a year ago. Now they bring in Steve Angeli, who I think, Bill, there's some parallels between those two, but the thing that stuck out to me about Angeli, even in that last week one against Tennessee, was the toughness and the ability to be able to throw on the move.
23 completions on 40 attempts. Some scrambles, including a great escape on a 4th down in the 4th quarter of that game against Tennessee. Syracuse opens with play action. Angeli looking to throw. He comes underneath to the running back, Will Nixon, and it's incomplete. Nixon covered by Damon Brinson, senior safety. Jonte Cook coming onto the field for the 2nd down play, and that is a good sign for Syracuse. Their transfer wide receiver was a game-time decision. Didn't play late in that game against Tennessee, but he's good to go today.
Yeah, a transfer from Texas, really one of the top prospects coming out of high school in the 2023 class. He has big play potential.
Angeli to throw again. He comes underneath. Tight end Dan Villari is open for a 1st down and a gain of 17. 5 catches last week for Villari, slotting right into the role that was occupied by Aronde Godson last year.
Nice job by Angeli of working through his progressions, coming underneath. He had his tight end wide open over the middle, making sure you move the chains.
2 seasons ago, Syracuse saw Villari at quarterback, running back, tight end, and more. Last year, behind Godson in the tight end rotation. This year, a primary target. First run for Syracuse is blown up. Ben Smiley, the transfer from Virginia, gets in the backfield and sends Will Nixon down for a loss of 2.
Yeah, Smiley is a player that UConn coaching staff is really excited about. He's able to quickly come looping around, breaks free. This is a UConn defensive line that's going to give up size to Syracuse, Bill, within the trenches, but they are very active. Very rarely do they ever just fire off the ball.
See 3 transfers on that defensive line, and all of them have Power 4 conference pedigree: Virginia, Nebraska, and Arizona State. Second down and 12. Blitz coming. Angeli stands in, fires, and completes it to Daryl Gill. Set up third and manageable. Gill had his best game of his career last year against UConn.
But there you see from Angeli just the ability to stand in there. It brought some pressure. Things started to collapse a little bit around him. He just stayed in there, was able to step in that throw, get the completion, and set up a much more manageable third down. Really the thing that Angeli was very highly touted coming out of high school. Didn't get a lot of reps at Notre Dame. When he did, he made the most of them, and I think he's really just shown great composure here early on in his Syracuse career. 3rd and 5 near midfield. Yassine Willis checks in for the first time next to Angeli. Some confusion in the alignment here for Syracuse as the play clock is ticked down to 3. And the Orange will burn their first timeout. There were a few of those issues in week 1 against Tennessee as well, with a quarterback making his first start for a new team where the Orange had to use timeouts after getting plays in late. So Fran Brown uses his first timeout. Second year for Fran Brown with the Orange, and what a first season it was. 10 wins, which tied the longtime Syracuse head coach Paul Pasqualoni for most wins during a first year at Syracuse. There were upsets along the way, including that marquee win over Miami at the end of the year, and they rode Kyle McCord to lead the nation in passing offense. Yeah, the numbers that he put up last year were almost eye-popping at times, but what he was able to do with this program, those 10 wins, and really a big part of that was there was never a spiral, and that's what's so interesting about today. Every time, those 3 times they did lose, they always bounced back with a win, and I think that's what Syracuse fans want to see today. Can they get that back? Correct the wrong from a week ago, get the ship righted, and get back in the win column. It's a 3rd and 5 for Syracuse. The Orange need the UConn 48 for a first down. It's a give to Yassine Willis, and he has a huge hole. First down and more into UConn territory to the 35. He gets 18 yards on 3rd and 5. Yeah, Demarius Washington, the big right tackle, really one of the more experienced guys coming back. Does a great job. You see him on number 1, Smiley, driving him off the ball, gave a soft edge there for Yassine Willis to be able to get there. Willis took a hit late there, no flag. First down for Syracuse at the 35. Go right back to Will Nixon, and he falls forward for a gain of 2. Vincent Carroll Jackson, another one of those D-line transfers for UConn from Nebraska, makes the tackle. Yeah, but just to go back on what you said, he took it. He delivered a little bit too. Yeah. He was slow to get up, but he's right back out there after just missing 1 snap. Both running backs stay in for Syracuse, Willis and Nixon. We saw this double-barreled look a few times for Syracuse against Tennessee as well. And Willis can certainly catch out of the backfield, but really that's Nixon's forte. He brings a little bit more of that receiving option. It's an interesting stack here from the offensive coordinator, Jeff Nixon, and a play-action pass out. Gill's got it again. First down and more down the sideline. Daryl Gill is inside the 15. Nice little bit of window dressing there from the OC, Jeff Nixon, as you mentioned, drawing the eye with the 2 backs in the backfield, bringing the action to the right, and then a quick throw from the QB over to Gill, who's really the most experienced guy within this program, coming back, one of 5 receivers a year ago with over 500 yards, the only one from that group to return. He had 570 receiving yards last year. 185 of them came in Syracuse's win over UConn last season. South Carolina transfer Tyshawn Russell in motion for Syracuse. Angeli throws it underneath, right through the hands of Russell. 185 yards for Daryl Gill last year. It was his first career 100-yard game. Big part of Syracuse's 34-24 win over UConn last year. Yeah, he certainly he brings the experience. A little bit quiet last week, only 2 receptions for 33 yards. But he has shown what he could do from that really dynamic passing attack a year ago. But on that previous play, though, it just seemed like lack of focus, almost a little bit of like laziness and just trying to bring that in. That should have been a completion, as kept what's really been a nice opening drive going. Second down. Willis gets his second carry, tries to lower the shoulder, and he's completely stacked up by a swarm of Husky tacklers. Antonio Harris Jr. was in the middle of it, transferred from New Mexico and plays defensive end. Yeah, that UConn D-line, they're going to give up size, but they play with good leverage, very active, always a lot of slants, a lot of movement.
One area where Syracuse wasn't as good as they'd like to be last year was scoring touchdowns in the red zone. In the red zone here, it's a 3rd and 9. Syracuse can get a first down inside the 10. Needs the UConn 7. Angeli has time. Pumps underneath. Nixon finds it, swivels inside, and gets right down near the sticks. He is just short. 4th and 1. Fran Brown has a penchant for being aggressive in these situations.
I like that call here, being aggressive. It was a nice job there. Again, going through the reads by the quarterback, checking down to find Nixon, at least set him up in this situation of this 4th and short. Good old see potentially here. Maybe just try to draw him off.
Willis in at running back. Play clock down to 10. It's a direct snap. And let's see. Looks like Syracuse is short. Willis and Angeli were looking to the sideline. It was snapped to Villari, who was cutting through. And Syracuse is cut down a half a yard short. UConn stands inside the 10. Now the UConn defense bent, but stood tall at the end there on 4th and 2. Not fooled by the trickeration from Villari. And UConn stops Syracuse inside the 10. So Syracuse drives the ball 68 yards. Fran Brown goes for it on 4th and 2, and the Orange were stuffed. UConn takes over, first down from its own 7. It's an opening carry from Cam Edwards, and he has stood up. That was the major talking point from defensive coordinator Elijah Robinson for Syracuse, is before anything else, need to stop the run. Syracuse does it on first down and puts the 7th-year, 24-year-old quarterback Joe Fignano in a passing down.
And Fignano, a player who has a lot of experience, probably at his best in that short to intermediate range, certainly has the arm strength to be able to get the ball downfield, but in terms of accuracy, best underneath. He's got plenty. This is really an offense. It's got some options for him to work with.
Started his college career at the University of Maine. This is his 3rd year at UConn. Looking to throw on play action, finds tight end Lewis Hanson with all kinds of space. It's a Husky first down over the 20. A gain of 16 before Derek McDonald makes the tackle. That tight end room is pretty loaded for UConn with Hanson, Alex Honig, and the transfer Juice Vereen.
Hanson had a touchdown in that game a year ago against Syracuse.
UConn moving quick early. Outside of the playmaking wide receiver, Skylar Bell. He gains 6 and is held up there by Chris Peel. You'll see that a lot from UConn with Bell. He took a screen pass 80 yards for a touchdown last week.
Yeah, UConn had kind of gotten off to a slow start in that game, and it was really that quick throw out to Bell and him taking it 80 yards that really kind of ignited that offense. It would end up going for over 600 yards in that win.
Jim Mora talked about it. Skylar Bell was one of many UConn players that went into the portal last year, took his visits, and elected to come back, maybe eschewing some more NIL money. It's a UConn team that believes in what they're building after their 9-4 season last year. Give it to Mel Brown, the running back on the end around. He surges across the 40 to the 45. Another big gain, 18 more yards before Deuce Chestnut pushes Brown out.
A nice ball handling there by Fignano. Show a lot of the action going to the left, as you mentioned, on the end around, giving it to Brown. Brings a lot of speed to that backfield.
Huskies have 3 good running backs, Cam Edwards, Mel Brown, and Victor Rosa. Edwards and Brown combined for 200 rushing yards last week on just 15 carries. Syracuse is showing blitz with Gary Bryant III, the transfer linebacker. Also true freshman Antoine Delorier at linebacker, and it is Delorier who makes the tackle after Edwards powers forward for 4. Antoine Delorier is a specimen. True freshman out of Montreal, 6'1", 235. I mean, look at the veins popping out of the arm muscles there. Yeah,
I mean, but 2 true freshmen within this defense with Delorier, and then number 1, Demetrius Samuel at corner.
Yep. And Samuel just 17 years old, making his 2nd start. Vignano on 2nd and 5 takes a shot down the sideline and missed Bell, who was blanketed by Chris Peel, the transfer defensive back, who Fran Brown coached a couple of years ago at Georgia in that defensive back room.
Yeah, Peel can run, but really just a little bit of miscommunication. It's a throw. Bell's an excellent route runner. Came back for that back shoulder, but too much on it. And this is where Syracuse, can they get that pass rush going here in this 3rd down, 3rd and medium. UConn's got some options here.
And can they get off the field? They struggled to get off the field on 3rd down against Tennessee last week. It's 3rd and 5. Vignano, flush from the pocket, fires downfield, and he missed the open tight end, Lewis Hanson. Something you picked up this week, Craig. When his feet are set, Vignano is very accurate. When he's moving, he struggles with accuracy.
Yeah, it did. Missed opportunity there. And it looked like, too, Bill, that maybe at this point, once he kind of gets flushed out of the pocket, if he's able to tuck it, there was a lot of green in front. He probably could have just ran for that first.
Instead, UConn will have to punt from midfield. Connor Stutz, senior out of Seattle, on to punt. Davian Kerr is the return man today for Syracuse. Kerr signals for the fair catch and brings it in right on the 10-yard line. So the Orange defense gets a stop at midfield. Syracuse with its 2nd possession of the game coming up. Syracuse started its own 10-yard line. They went 11 plays, 68 yards on the first drive of the game, but stopped on 4th down inside the 10. You mentioned UConn's defensive line, the way they move, and we saw how that can be effective on a few plays in that opening drive.
Yeah, they were able to get Ben Smiley right there, number 1, gets back in there. Nice job filling by the linebacker, Diomande. And then on 4th down, I love going for it, but the defensive line was able to hold tight and force a turnover on downs. And the offense, even though they didn't score in that one, Bill, they were still able to get to midfield, flip field position after starting deep in their own territory. And if Syracuse is going to do it, they're going to have to march downfield again, but hopefully this time be able to continue the momentum and finish.
Angeli threw it for 48 yards on the first drive. Syracuse also ran for 20 yards on the opening drive. We'll start with a pass. Angeli, open middle, takes advantage of it. He can move a bit, and he gains a good chunk on 1st down, 6 yards to set up 2nd and 4. Something the Syracuse coaches talked about is maybe he moves a little bit better than folks on the outside think.
Yeah, well, I remember him coming out of high school, and even when I watched him last week, I was like, oh, he moves a lot better than I remember.
Syracuse going quickly here. You see Willis, bumps to the outside. He's hammered, but runs through the contact of Diomande. Ball came out at the end. Willis ran through the first tackle. He fumbles it going to the turf, and UConn recovers at the Syracuse 19.
First and 10, Connecticut.
Interesting to see. Looks like his left knee might have been down.
Our replay official today is Matt Stelgis, ACC crew. So he'll take a look at it here. And we'll watch Willis, who blew up Omar Diomande, but then on the 2nd hit lost the ball.
Yeah, you could clearly hear that collision up in the booth. Is that
The ruling
left
up on the field
knee?
was a fumble recovered by Connecticut. Previous play is under further review.
That left knee was down, yeah.
Devin Pringle came in to try to rip that ball out, but at least from our vantage point, looks like Willis's knee was down.
Yeah, that left knee is the one that's going to go down.
All right, as Matt Stelgis and his crew take a look at it, we will step aside. Big review early in this game. After review, call is overturned. No fumble. Pretty clear here. Willis's left knee is down before he fumbles it.
Yeah, it get a little crowded in there, get lost, but that left knee is going to go down. You're going to see right in there that he still has clean possession of the football, and after that knee is down is when you see it get ripped out. Right call there, and Syracuse escaped an opportunity there to.
Big 3rd and 1 though, and the Orange going nowhere. Went for the quick run to Willis, and UConn gets into the backfield. It's Omar Diomande who had a big hit with Willis on the last play that submarines in and brings him down for 4th down.
Yeah, had a nice tackle on that little package we showed coming back off of that first drive. Second time here in a short situation that this UConn defensive front that is giving up size is still able to stay low, win.
It's a big Syracuse offensive line. A lot of talent there, but a lot of guys who haven't played much together. So communication is something that you're working on against a team that moves as much as UConn does on the defensive line. First Syracuse punt, Jack Stonehouse might be the ACC punter of the year this year. It's a big leg, but we've got a whistle first and a flag. Delay of game. Syracuse doesn't get the snap off. Happened penalty. Once on the punt last week as well.
And upgrading and kind of improving among special teams is kind of a big theme of this offseason as well.
New special teams coordinator Ricky Brumfield. Fran Brown said he was pleased with special teams in week 1. They covered punts well, but told us he gets on his coaches too, and he was in Brumfield's ear there after that delay of game. Stonehouse averaged 49 yards a punt on 5 punts last week. Jackson Harper is the UConn return man. It's a high kick. Harper brings it in at his 39, and it's hard at the 40. Jaden Hart, who's a third-string running back. Beg your pardon, that's the linebacker Moultrie Goddard, who shares 22 with Hart, who makes the big hit on Harper after a gain of 1.
Yeah, nice job by number 22. You see him in his lane coming down. Just as the returner thought he was going to have a lane on the outside. You see number 22 right where he needs to be, squaring up with a nice hit. Oh man, every reason to be excited there in that special teams play.
This big punt as well, right out to 49 yards, just 1 yard return. That's what Stonehouse does well, and it helps flip the field a bit. A good field position for UConn, starting second drive of the game at the 40. Vignano over the middle, completes it to Shamar Porter, who stepped back, gives up the first down yardage, but still gains 8 to set up 2nd and 2 for Jim Mora's UConn Huskies. We talked to Jim Mora this week, and Craig, he said, you know, there's been progress, still miles from where they want to be. A big part of that is trying to get into a Power 4 conference, but that 9-4 record last year was UConn's first winning season since 2010.
Yeah, what he's been able to build and maintain, as you mentioned, some of the players that have come back this year has been impressive.
Pitch it to Mel Brown, and he's hit hard at the line, stopped short to set up 3rd and 1. Anwar Sparrow, redshirt senior reserve linebacker, makes the hit. We'll see a ton of players for Syracuse on both offense and defense. Fran Brown flat out told us, more guys you play, the happier guys are. He wants to get as many guys in the game as he can.
And as the season wears on, injury is always an issue. You get guys experience. You also keep players fresh.
3rd and 1 at midfield. It's Edwards into the pile, and he pushes forward for a UConn first down, gaining 2. Lewis Hanson, the tight end, made a strong shove to help Edwards forward.
Talking with the coaches earlier today, he's only listed about 5'11", 210. They called him kind of more the bruiser. Showed it there, was able to kind of get in the pile, keep those legs driving. And really now in 2 drives, what Syracuse wasn't able to do, get it past the chains, Cam Edwards able to kind of drive forward, pick up that first down.
Rushed for 830 yards last year. 115 yards on just 6 carries last week. False start on UConn.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
It's referee Gary Patterson, first penalty called today, and it's on Ty Chan, the Notre Dame transfer, who had moved up into his starting role at right guard this week.
Yeah, Ty Chan out of Lawrence Academy.
UConn lost 2 offensive linemen to the NFL after last season, so an area where there's a lot of guys who've played, but playing in some different spots this year. Mel Brown looking to sweep, tries to cut it back. Sparrow ankle tackles him for a gain of 2, and it's 2nd and 13.
Yeah, nice job. Talked about the emphasis on stopping the run. The left side of that Orange defensive line doing a nice job setting the edge, stringing it out, forcing Brown to have to cut back right into traffic, stopping up a minimal gain.
How many times in our meeting yesterday did Elijah Robinson said, well, first we have to stop the run? I think I had to count at 5 or 6. Every time we asked him about Vignano or Skylar Bell. It was, we'll get to them, but first, got to stop the run. On 2nd and 13, this is Terrence Smith. He's a speedster, but the Orange were ready for him. Just a 1-yard gain, and it's 3rd and 12. And so far, Elijah Robinson will have to be pleased with how his defense is stopping the run.
And this is a team that last week, 0 team sacks. A lot of the sacks from a year ago. Devin Grant is actually their leading returner amongst the player with sacks, and he's out today. But this is where they wanted to be. Because they stopped the run, they now put the offense in an obvious passing situation. Give this defensive line a chance to pin their ears back a little bit.
It's 3rd and 11. First home game of the year at the JMA Wireless Dome, and the crowd coming to life. It's a screen pass to Edwards. Sparrow runs through the block. Edwards chugging toward the line. He moves the legs and he gets the first down. An 11-yard gain as Edwards cut back and found the seam. Those are the backbreakers for defense.
Yeah, they only bring 3, right? And they set up the screen. They do a nice job recognizing, but you see the body, 63, 69, 73 out there.
Quick to the outside, Raymello Murphy, a transfer, gets forward to the 30, gaining another big chunk. 2nd and 1 upcoming after the Arizona transfer. Murphy takes that out flat.
We go with some tempo here.
Go the other way, it's Murphy once again. He has the first down, he dips to the outside, he's in the red zone, down to the 18, gaining 13 more yards. There's a lot more depth in the UConn wide receiver room this year with transfers Raymello Murphy and Ty Jalkeel Bowman joining the fold.
Yeah, I mean, you referenced the tight ends a little bit earlier. This is an offense that certainly has plenty of options at its disposal.
First trip to the red zone for UConn. Do not need to snap it, but they will here before the end of the quarter. And Cam Edwards slithers through a hole and picks up 5 on the final play of quarter 1. Well, Syracuse marched deep into the red zone and got to the 7 early before they were stopped. Now it's UConn marching here at the end of the quarter. Syracuse and UConn scoreless after 1 in this battle of old Big East rivals here on a Saturday in Syracuse. Beautiful Hendricks Chapel on the campus of Syracuse University. This time of year, starting to turn toward fall. There was a little crisp chill in the air as we walked in today. Syracuse and UConn knotted up at 0 after 1. Both teams have had one big drive. Syracuse, a big drive down to the UConn 7, turned it over on downs. UConn in the midst of a big drive here, inside the red zone and threatening as we start the second quarter.
You see the numbers from Vignano, but really Cam Edwards, the running back 0, has been impressive.
Skylar Bell goes in motion instead. It's a double pass, wide open to the end zone. Honig scores. Touchdown UConn. Alex Honig on the trick play. The wide receiver John Nider throws his first career touchdown pass and hits the tight end Honig.
What's interesting is Honig was on the receiving end of that, but he was actually a quarterback coming out of high school out of Europe. You would think that he would be the one on the double pass, but well executed. You see number 81 out there, Lewis Hansen to block, and Honig able to break free all alone. Well executed play there by UConn.
So UConn scores first, Freeman on for the point after, and it's 7-0 Huskies. Now you mentioned Honig was the quarterback for a team called the Schwabisch Unicorns in Germany on his way over here. Went to TCU as a quarterback, now a great tight end. He's on the receiving end of this play, and Bell was the distraction there.
Yeah, and Honig was the tight end with his hand down. He's worked right over the middle. Nice job. You saw Hansen, he draws up 2 defenders, and Honig does a nice job of just slipping out. Really well executed play between drawing their attention with Bell.
Remember, no Devin Grant for Syracuse, so it is the sophomore B.J. Long who was out there in that safety spot and was late to react to Honig as well.
And again, too, like if you study the roster, you would expect a play like that for Honig to be the one throwing it, for him to kind of be on the receiving end. A really well-executed drive there by UConn. And again, really the foundation of it was some tough running by Cam Edwards to pick up some first downs.
And the big 3rd and 11 screen pass to Edwards as well. Freeman to kick to Malachi James. Who's a confident kid returning kicks. He told the local media here it's not if he returns a kick for a touchdown this year, it's when. But he has not had a chance to return one yet this season. It's another touchback. So 2 drives for Syracuse. First one moved the ball well. Stall in the red zone. There was a drop that was a big part of that. Didn't move the ball much on the second drive. What would you like to see from Jeff Nixon, the offensive coordinator, on this 3rd drive?
Yeah, I mean, it's a slow start, but it's still early in this game. I think we've talked about it too. I think throwing the ball is in their DNA, but I think still early on, and for the rest of the year, they got to go out there, be able to establish this run game, get more consistency on the ground. They're going to start with Nixon in the backfield on this first play.
It's a give on the RPO, and Nixon surges up the middle for a good gain of 6. 2nd and 4 upcoming. Safety Lee Millette in on the tackle.
And we talked about a little bit earlier, Bill. This O-line's got a lot of turnover from a year ago. But talking with head coach Fran Brown, he seemed really excited with the way that unit was coming together. I think you got to let them build some confidence, kind of establish itself, be able to fire off the football and create some running lanes.
On 2nd and 4, Angeli going long for Villari. Defended well, no flag. Tyrese Mills, redshirt senior safety, draped on Villari to set up 3rd and 4.
Yeah, it was good coverage there by Mills. He had that 2nd down opportunity, but again, almost you get that nice first down run. You kind of want to say, you know what, keep pushing your chips in that direction, do it again. Now setting up a 3rd down. But obviously a much more it's a manageable 3rd down.
It's an area where they often look to Jonte Cook in the slot, number 2. He's in the bottom of your screen and in motion now. Angeli steps up, uses the legs and dives for a first down. Well, he's a tough kid. He stood in and took some hits last week, and that headlong dive gains him 5 and moves the sticks.
And most importantly, there was decisiveness. He went through his reads. There wasn't anything there. He quickly tucked it, ran, got the first down.
Syracuse going to some tempo. Angeli set to throw, comes underneath. Nixon finds it, is popped and falls forward after a gain of 8. Chadwick hit him. 8-yard gain for the running back, who's the son of the Orange offensive coordinator, Jeff Nixon.
See Angeli again, there was push in the pocket. Quickly looked down to his outlet there. Nixon got it out of his hands.
They'll run it with Willis. Little hesitation, he powers ahead over midfield. You see Willis, a little stutter step, opened up the whole 8-yard gain before Tyrese Mills' tackle, and the Orange are in plus territory.
Yeah, you see his body type, you think it's all power, but good patience there from the sophomore running back to let that develop.
Here's a quick out to Jalen Hornsby, young up-and-coming receiver who makes his first catch of the season, 3rd of his career.
57 Syracuse.
And the Orange will need to replace right tackle Demetrius Weatherspoon for a play as his helmet popped up. Cam Pringle, a high school All-American and transfer, comes in. But it's the first time Syracuse has seen Hornsby this year. And the youngster from Windsor Township, New Jersey, gets a good game.
Yeah, Weatherspoon lost it, looking for a hand to the face there for the reason why he lost it. He had a good case there, but nonetheless had to leave the field because he lost his helmet for a play.
Throw it again, Hornsby finds it again. First down, Jalen Hornsby powers over the 35. Hornsby said, Fran Brown, get on him. Said, Fran calls me soft sometimes because I transferred away from Camden High School, which is the high school Fran played at for my senior season. But when we talked with Fran Brown, he pushes his players, he is hard with them, but he shows them a lot of love as well. Pocket holds for Angeli. Now he's pressured from behind, and Ben Smiley takes him down for a sack and a 1-yard loss. Donovan Branch was in there as well, and it's Branch, the senior linebacker, who will be credited with his first sack of the year.
Yeah, that's just hustle by Branch. You're just staying after it. See him there working on the inside. Nice pocket movement by Angeli, but at some point, a little bit too much time in the effort there from Branch, able to allow him to stay after it. Protection was there, good pocket movement, but at some point, that internal clock in your head has to go off. You got to get rid of the football.
Running back Willis is lined up in the slot on 2nd and 12. Angeli finds Volari open in the middle of the field. First down, Syracuse inside the red zone. It's a gain of 19. Angeli's now 8 of 11 for 89 yards.
Yeah, they only bring 3, clean pocket. Nice job by Volari of finding the soft spot in the zone.
Second time in the red zone for Syracuse. They turned it over on downs in their first trip. Out to Volari in the flat. Lowers the shoulder on Cam Chadwick. Ryan Parham, the linebacker, helps get him down after a 5-yard gain. All passing over the last few snaps for Syracuse. So once again, it is in this staff's DNA. They want to spread the ball around. They want to throw it.
Yeah, but it was a couple of nice runs that kind of helped get this drive going. I had a really nice drive to open this game. But can this offense now finish in this opportunity?
Angeli moves the pocket, looking for Jonte Cook. He seams it into him for a mid-range gain and a 3rd and 2 upcoming. Good open field tackle by Devon Brinson on the very athletic Jonte Cook.
That's Brinson, yeah, doing a nice job just wrapping up, bringing him down, creating the 3rd down. We're seeing here Syracuse drive stall on 3rd down.
Scored 85% of the time in the red zone last year, but did not have the touchdown rate where they wanted it last season. Looking at a 3rd and 3 here. Willis trying to push the pile. He's right near the sticks and he stops short. 1 yard shy, and it sets up another decision for Fran Brown here on 4th and 1, Craig.
If, you know what, after the last one, I would kick it. They haven't done that much. Take the points. This looks, you know, this looks like a long, it's a good 4th and 2.
Syracuse has not kicked a field goal yet this season. We're going to let the play clock wind down to 15 before breaking the huddle and at least showing that they're going for it here. 4th and 2, and UConn will take timeout as Jim Mora sprints down the sideline.
Timeout, Connecticut. That's their first charge timeout of the half.
Another big moment in this game coming. Second time Syracuse is set up for a 4th down on the other side of this UConn timeout. Second time today, 4th and 2 in the red zone for Syracuse, and once again Fran Brown is going for it. On the first time they went with a little bit of a trick play, and Volari was stopped short.
And it's about the same distance this time. They try to kind of power it forward, put it in the air. 3 backs in the backfield with him.
Need the 9-yard line for a first down. Cook and Volari motion out.
See here, maybe try to gift one. That's the way they're kind of acting. They're going to wait to the last second to snap this.
Nixon in motion. They do snap it. Hit! Fumble! Ball out! It's still loose! Rolling on the turf. Doesn't matter who's on top of it because it's going to UConn either way. All the way back at the 39. Tyrese Mills hammered Steve Angeli on the blitz.
Fumble recovery by UConn. Ball carrier short of the line to gain. First down, Connecticut.
Officially, UConn recovers, but even if Syracuse had recovered, the Husky ball there as Mills was unblocked.
Yeah, I mean, just right off the edge. Got it. Boy, that's right on the shoulder. Then that ball, it felt like Bill was on the ground, untouched forever before anybody realized it. And then you're going to watch it coming right underneath just as he was going back. That ball stood there for a while, then got kicked downfield, and really that went about as poorly as it can go between your quarterback taking a hit, not picking up the first down, and then the extra field position they got by the ball getting kind of knocked downfield.
Angeli did eventually make his way off the field, but he took a shot there from Mills. So the story of this game right now, UConn converts on its 1 trip to the red zone. Syracuse has failed twice in the red zone on 4th down. Play action, ball is tipped and incomplete. Hand on it on the line, and it went over Shamar Porter's head.
And Syracuse, we'll see how the defense responds. on the turnover there. But, you know, it almost, again, it almost feels like take those 3. It's still really early in the game. Get your kicking game a little bit established here, but twice now, able to kind of convert 4th downs and see if UConn can capitalize.
Joe Fignano calls his playmaking wide receiver Skylar Bell in motion. Give it to Cam Edwards. Takes a bump at the line and keeps on churning the legs for 3. It's a big 3rd down upcoming for the Syracuse defense. 3rd and 7, needing to get off the field.
Yeah, last time they had kind of faced 3rd down and long. They only brought 3. UConn very well executed a screen play to Edwards, who's actually going off the field now for that 1st down.
Edwards favoring the shoulder as he heads off the sideline. 3rd and 7 for UConn. Syracuse looking for a spark from its defense here after failing to score in the red zone. The wide receiver Bell in the backfield with Fignano. Fignano flushed, hit, and down he goes! Kevin Jobity records Syracuse's 1st sack of the season, and that is the 3-and-out the Orange needed to respond.
Yeah, exactly. You mentioned that's what the defense needed to do, respond over that turnover, and then also do it by getting pressure. Great job there by Jobity of fighting through it. See him working up top, gets the corner. Don't get a clean block on him. He's able to close in. Fignano's got a lot of experience, not overly mobile, and then Jobity able to track him down.
Second punt of the game. This is a line drive and returnable for Davion Curry. Gets it to 28, and there is no room. Syracuse gets a 3-and-out, and now we'll see if the Orange can finish a drive when we come back. So the Syracuse defense gets the 3-and-out it wanted, so Steve Angeli and the Orange offense get it back here. Angeli took that big pop on 4th down last drive, but looks like he is okay. 10 for 13 so far for 94 yards for Angeli, but UConn's defense has stood firm when it's needed to, particularly in the red zone.
Yeah, this is a defense that's really active, a lot of movement. Early on, we saw Ben Smiley, #1, getting into backfield. That was a 4th down where the defense stepped up, and then the nice double throw here to the tight end, Honig. And then on that last drive, get a sack there, and then on 4th and down, Tyrese Mills with a big hit. UConn would get the ball back. If the Syracuse defense on that play would wind up responding, but get the ball back to their offense with a chance here. Try to get this offense going and finish the drive.
Maybe inject a little life into this building as well. 1st down run, Will Nixon, and he dives ahead, gaining 4. You and I were just talking about this during the break, Craig. Obviously, passing is in the Syracuse DNA. They led the nation in passing yards last year, but felt like they had some good momentum early last drive running the football before they went away from it a bit.
Yeah, you know, there's the old philosophy, you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. They've had some nice 1st down runs. It almost feels like, you know what, let's go again on 2nd down. Then they put the ball in the air. Sometimes they'd have success. Sometimes it leads to an incompletion. We've talked about Yasin Willis, Will Nixon. They've got a nice stable of backs. They've been happy with the O-line. Let them fire off, create some running lanes.
And we've got movement from Syracuse here. That play seemed out of whack after Ross Simmons started to motion and then had to stop.
Ball start, number 73, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Joshua Miller is tagged. He's the backup center, but playing guard at the moment on that last play.
But just throughout this 1st half, a lot of it seemed almost at times 1 step forward, 2 steps back.
Yep. 10 new starters on offense for Syracuse, so maybe you should expect some growing pains. That being said, no one wants to hear that in week 2. The coaching staff certainly doesn't want to hear that. Angeli going to throw the sideline route. Blanket coverage as Gill was defended well by Pringle, and it's 3rd and 11.
They're letting Pringle play there. They brought pressure. You're going to see the pressure there. They do a nice job of picking it up. He's got his one-on-one route there, and then Pringle, really aggressive there. But that's why, if you're going to call a game like that, love it. Let him play.
Yep. Pringle was a Division II All-American last year at Grand Valley State, getting a shot to show what he can do up at this level.
Yeah, usually a lot of talk from the FCS to the FBS. Yeah. That's a big jump from D2, but Grand Valley State, one of the top D2 programs.
So it's 3rd and long. UConn drops 7 into coverage. Angeli down the sideline again on the tip. It's caught. Inbounds, no, out of bounds, incomplete. Nearly picked the first time and then almost picked again. Aaron Key broke it up.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a pocket there. Angeli tried to hit it. A nice job by Key. Pick it up, you're gonna see to the right of the screen. There's a little bit of a window there. Watch Key just elevate. Well played there on number 5, the graduate.
Pringle trying to say he got his foot in, but looked like he may have just been on the white. So 3rd punt coming for Jack Stonehouse. Another high, deep boot to Jackson Harper. Harper avoids a hit and goes out of bounds after a 1-yard gain. Get all of ESPN college football all in one place with the all-new ESPN app. Unlock with the ESPN Unlimited plan or log in with your TV provider. So this UConn defense, really strong so far. They've held up in the red zone. They get a 3-and-out here. It's funny, this week we talked to defensive coordinator Matt Brock, and I mean, maybe he's like a lot of defensive coordinators, a little tough on his guys, super intense, but boy, he seemed almost apoplectic about their week 1 performance. Yet today, they've held Syracuse off the board. Only gave up 14 points, but he was not happy with the overall effort from week 1. First carry for Victor Rosa, and the freshman Delorier comes in to make the tackle.
I think now, though, Bill, on this drive, it's important for the offense to pay off the way the defense is playing. While you got Syracuse a little bit out of sorts offensively, I think you got to put more points on the board here. Start to put Syracuse a little bit on their heels. I think it's important for this offense to move down the field and at least get 3 on this drive. I know it's still early, still a lot of football to play, but at some point you got to pay off the way your defense has been playing.
Rosa, the redshirt junior from Bristol, Connecticut, stays in the game at running back on 2nd and 9. Play action, Vignano's got time. He lets it go, and he missed a wide open Lewis Hansen. Threw it behind him. There was a big gain out there if he put that on the numbers.
Yeah, I mean, that's really nice job initially on selling that handoff. Good protection. That's where it is with Vignano. He can make some really nice throws. Here's another one. The second time in this game, there's a throw he should have made. Makes it the right read, goes underneath, just leaves it behind his tight end.
So it's another 3rd and long, 3rd and 9 for the Huskies. Vignano was sacked on the last 3rd down. Has to move the pocket, throws off his back foot. Bell along the sideline brings it in. Spotted right near the sticks. This will be very close with Delane guarding Bell, and he is less than a yard short. 4th and 1. With the lead and the way your defense is playing, you'd imagine Moore will punt here, right?
Well, I listen, at this point, you're going to see Smiley doing a nice job working back to the chains, getting a lot of contested there. You see the strong arm. I would have at least see if I could have gifted one. Not Syracuse to jump off sides.
So Bell kept a yard from the sticks under cover from Greg Delane, and now it's the 3rd time we'll see Connor Stutz punt it away to Davian Kerr. That's a high snap for the 2nd straight time, and down goes Connor Stutz. 2nd week in a row that UConn has bungled a long snap, and it sets up Syracuse inside the red zone.
And overall, they have been happy with their special team play. Their game started out last week with a poor snap. This one was a chance. See, the punter is going to be off. Heidi was right. He does a nice job, but by the time he's able to recollect it, you see the blue jerseys around him. And now, special teams. Sometimes in a game, your offense is struggling, your defense is struggling. Now, special teams is giving this offense a great opportunity here in the red zone.
That's Zach Christenat, the long snapper, for the 2nd week with some trouble. And it was honestly a heck of a play by Connor Stutz to even get a hand on it and keep it from rolling into the end zone. Does Syracuse capitalize here? 1st down from the UConn 19. Well, pop pass to Tyshawn Russell, trying to turn the corner, and he is well covered the whole way side to side. No gain. Omar Diamande, the linebacker, and Donovan Branch both stuck with him.
Russell had to cut that up.
Yep.
He had a blocker in front of him, and he kept bouncing it. You're going to see Willis is going to be leading him. He's got to put that right foot in the ground and get right up behind where Willis is, right off his butt. They had it, well designed. Russell wound up bouncing it, missed opportunity there.
Russell had a good week last week, but a tough start for him today. A drop in the red zone early in the game. And now no gain there. Syracuse 0 for 2 in the red zone today. Angeli over the middle, and it's broken up. It's high for Hornsby. Tyrese Mills, who's had a fantastic game, got his hand on it.
Yeah, outstanding break by Mills.
There is a flag down, and it looks like it's likely on Syracuse because referee Gary Patterson's checking with Jim Mora.
Offense, that penalty's declined. Third down.
UConn declines the 5-yard penalty to set up 3rd and 10 here.
Getting an eligible downfield here. You see the nice break by number 40 right in the middle of your screen.
It's the Penn State transfer Tyrese Mills. His starting role with an injury to Malachi McLean this week, and he's been fabulous. 3rd and 11 for Syracuse, again stalling out in the red zone. Angeli gets it out quick, and he overshot Will Nixon. The first down was there if he brought it in. Ben Smiley put the heat on, maybe forced that pass to be a bit high. And for the first time this season, Syracuse will kick a field goal.
Yeah, I mean, actually got to take that, but bringing some pressure, disguising, he has it just a little bit off target by Angeli.
It's the Iowa transfer Trip Woody. This is his first career field goal attempt. Officially from 38 yards, and Syracuse was down a player. They have to rush Dan Villari on here. Now UConn will look to substitute, which will run even more clock. Play clock down to 3, now 2. And Syracuse burns a timeout. Second time they've had to use a timeout on special teams today. And tactical substituting from UConn there to force it.
I mean, when you don't kick many field goals, sometimes many people forget what team you're on. Costly there.
So the redshirt freshman will have to wait through the break before he attempts his first college field goal. Look, we're watching a very frustrated Fran Brown right now, and to be frank, you can't really blame him. It has been a very sloppy first 27 minutes or so for Syracuse, including a second timeout needed on special teams after a miscue in the operations and substitution. So now it is the first career field goal attempt for Trip Woody, redshirt freshman from Waxhaw, North Carolina. This is from 38 yards. And Woody splits the uprights. Kicking was a big issue for Syracuse last year. They brought Woody in from Iowa, wins the job, and gets the Orange on the board. Now 7-3, but that's a win for the UConn defense after the turnover.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be a nice guy here. I'm going to say everybody won because Syracuse get in the red zone. At least you get some points out of it. You pay off your special teams play with a special teams play, but you're right for UConn. Once again, that defense is able to respond where they were put out there, backs against the wall, off of that special teams miscue on the punt opportunity, and still able to maintain their lead. But again, at some point, this UConn offense has to kind of take advantage of the way this defense is played, try to broaden this lead a little bit more.
Some games involving other ACC teams today. Clemson will take on Troy, coming off their Week 1 performance against LSU. It's a sneaky good one down in Blacksburg, Vanderbilt and Virginia Tech, and then Stanford opened its year in Hawaii. Now they play at BYU. That's late tonight, 10:15 on ESPN. First time we'll see Syracuse kickoff specialist Jaden O. Picked a handful of touchbacks against Tennessee last week. Mel Brown is the UConn returner if he gets the opportunity. This is possibly returnable. Brown will take it from one step inside his end zone. He breaks a tackle, gets out across the 20 to the 22. 23-yard return for Mel Brown. And now the 3.5-minute drill for UConn, who also gets the ball to start half two.
Yeah, it looks like Cam Edwards is in that huddle. We saw him kind of go off, holding his shoulder. He's a big part of this offense, some tough running. Good to see him back out there.
And for UConn, you'd love to use up the clock here, get some points, chance to double up here and open this game up a bit. Syracuse's defense has forced 2 straight 3-and-outs. They're hoping to win the ball back for the Orange here. Vignano, quick out, Shamar Porter. Make a nice move around Amara Pariola to the outside. A little shimmy shake on David Amara Pariola allows Shamar Porter to pick up a UConn first down.
Yeah, Shamar Porter, he's always kind of been good after the catch. A 4-star prospect coming out of high school, signed with Kentucky. Came this way last year via the transfer portal. Nice move there. Nice play on first down.
Those quick outs, big parts of UConn's offense. Let their playmaking wide receivers try to win one-on-one battles in open field. Edwards runs, cuts it back. There was a nice sized hole and a 5-yard gain to set up second and manageable and wind the clock down below 3 minutes in the first half.
Yeah, heavy zone run team. Been a little bit more kind of gap scheme earlier on in this game, but that's what Edwards does so well. So patient, sees those cutback lanes, setting them up here in a nice second down. Opportunity to potentially put it up in the air or keep it on the ground.
You don't need to go fast here. UConn still has all 3 of its timeouts, plus the 2-minute timeout, and they want to limit time Syracuse could have with the ball later on.
And Syracuse not in a position to counter because they only have the 1.
That's right. Give it to Edwards again. Deuce Chestnut wraps him up, but Edwards absorbs the contact and spins ahead for a first down. This could take it to the 2-minute timeout here for UConn, inching toward midfield.
Yeah, such good vision, great feet there by Edwards.
So Cam Edwards sets up UConn near midfield with a first down at the 2-minute timeout. UConn trying to score going into the half and open this game up a bit. Steve Angeli and Syracuse, they've moved the ball, but they haven't finished drives, and that's why they trail 7-3. Angeli's also missed on his last 4 passes, which has stalled Syracuse a bit. So it's UConn driving. They finished on their only trip to the red zone, a John Nider trick play touchdown pass to Lewis Hansen. Beg your pardon, to Alex Honig. The only touchdown in this game. Here's Terrence Smith, the speedy wide receiver slash running back, who gains 4, keeps the clock moving. You know, Jim Mora and the offensive coordinator, Gordon Samus, both told us, we got to get this kid the ball because he's got a ton of speed.
Yeah, he had a really nice run in week 1 that was called back due to a penalty, but he's kind of he's their slash type player. Put him in the backfield, split him out wide.
On 2nd and 5, inside the final 2 minutes of the first half. It's a good quick tackle by Chris Peel. 4-yard gain to Shamar Porter. It's 3rd and 1, and the clock keeps on winding. 1 minute and 15 to go. UConn still has its timeouts, 2 of the 3 for the Huskies. On 3rd and 1, Mel Brown takes it around the edge, and a big hole. Mel Brown is gone. Touchdown UConn from 45 yards.
We talked about needing to capitalize on the way their defense is playing, and on that drive, they certainly did, as we saw the speedster, number 7, Mel Brown.
Early in the game, Syracuse did a pretty good job stopping the run, but a breakdown there. And it's soon to be an 11-point lead for the Huskies. Leave just 1 minute and 2 seconds on the clock for Syracuse. Freeman on for the point after. 14-3 UConn. They were looking at this game as a proof point. They want to be a Power 4 conference team. This is the type of win where you can build a resume, and they get the huge gain from Brown here.
They got the strength to the right. You see the push defense, but they're going to run that zone to the left, and a nice job by Brown. Patient, he sees that seam, and then that's where you see the acceleration, where he's able to take it all the way. Watch, body on a body working. He's going to find that seam right off between the left tackle and the left guard, and he's able to take it untouched all the way.
So UConn scores on the front half of halftime. Syracuse with 62 seconds to respond. Then it's Husky ball to start half two as well. So it's pretty crucial 62 seconds here for Syracuse to at least try to find a way to move down the field and get a field goal.
And that's also too there, Bill, where some of the sloppiness and miscues come back to hurt you in this situation, because now you're just working with the one timeout that goes to the potential play of the game, and then with the field goal lacking the personnel.
Yeah, both timeouts have come on special teams, a punt and a field goal where Syracuse had to use its timeout so far. See if Malachi James gets a chance to return it. No. It's another touchback. Steve Angeli early in this game got off to a good start. He was 10 for his first 13, but particularly on that last drive where Syracuse was set up in the red zone, a couple of misses, and he's thrown 4 straight incompletions.
Looked sharp early on, and then they're missing Nixon a little bit out of good coverage there. Firing downfield, a little bit coverage there as well. Trying to work it into a seam. A little bit over the middle. You see one common denominator on a lot of those throws, though, is a UConn defender. There in position. Really, the one that hurt him was the missed throw to Will Nixon that could have potentially picked up the first down.
That's right. 75 yards between Syracuse and the end zone, just 62 seconds to work with. Hit as he throws, that pass comes out wobbly and low, incomplete. Donovan Branch was in there again. He's gotten into the backfield a couple times.
Yeah, Branch is kind of that hybrid edge player. Can play off the ball, can put his hand down. As a pass rusher, you see him there working against the guard, doing a nice job, just fighting his way through, just getting enough of Angeli to change the projection of that throw.
Nixon couldn't stand up for the block. Ball's in the air and nearly picked. Tyquan King got a hand on it. Carroll Jackson obliterated his matchup on the offensive line and hit Angeli as he threw.
Yeah, just straight power there.
There's a flag down in the backfield. It's an ACC crew. Gary Patterson, the lead referee. In communications here with the center judge, T. Jones. A lot of conversation here.
I wonder if they're
was it a high hit
yeah,
on
I think
Angeli?
they're looking at, because there was a collision there. Now, Carroll Jackson got there with straight power. You could hear a little bit of a collision from up here when they connected, and I wonder if he's communicating, potentially looking at the jargon. You see,
yeah, no announcement.
See Jackson maybe pleading his case there a little bit. They are, whatever it is, they're talking it over pretty thoroughly.
Matt Stelgis is the replay official. Again, Carroll Jackson went right through the offensive line.
It buzzed in prior to the snap on the previous play. Previous play is under further review for a forward pass or a fumble.
So replay from the initial first down incompletion had buzzed in to see whether Angeli had fumbled when his arm was hit by Branch. So they're going back to that play. The last play never happened. It'll either be 2nd and 10 for Syracuse, or it'll be a Syracuse fumble on that first down play. Had to determine whether or not the snap had come before the buzz down. That was part of the delay there.
We had already moved on from that play, trying to solve that riddle. We're going to see here again, it's number 11, Branch, up top working against the guard. He's going to get his hand in there. It looks like, I mean, he had control of that arm. Not even really the arm. It's what you're looking at is the hand. You're going to watch the hand there of Angeli pushing through. He still got firm. I think that's an incomplete pass. He
and that's
still
a huge
has firm
break
control
for Syracuse then, because it wipes out that last play. So it'll be 2nd and 10. It gives them more time as well. It's, you know, a review that UConn would have wanted if it was a fumble, but it's going to turn out to be pretty unfortunate for them unless they're seeing something that we're not.
Yeah, you know, again, they always the old verbiage used to be is the arm coming forward. It's the hand, but to me, Bill, looks like he still had firm control of that football when the contact was made, and really by Branch being able to get his hands on it, he just kind of was able to take away the power from it. That's why it sputtered out.
I think if that ball had been picked on 2nd and 10, it merely
After
was
further
there.
review, the ruling on the field is upheld, incomplete pass.
So the ruling
The
upheld.
next play never occurred.
That is spot on from Gary
memory.
Patterson. We saw nothing. What play? What play? But in all seriousness, that was very nearly a UConn interception wiped off the board. Instead, 2nd and 10.
Pressure, yeah. I don't remember. Have you ever? I'm trying to remember. Watched a lot of football, like a replay buzz that kind of came that delayed.
That delayed, yeah. And led to about a minute of discussion just on whether or not it had come in time.
Please reset the game clock to 58 seconds.
It's all been a little sloppy today. UConn leading 14-3.
But all in all, it kind of seems to get you down to 50. It seemed to kind of work in Syracuse's favor here. They can make it do so by creating some positive momentum.
5 straight incompletions for Steve Angeli. He's 10 for 18 here in this first half. Gets this one out quick and does hit a completion.
Taquan King doing a nice job right there on the spot to make the tackle.
Yeah, just a 6-yard gain as King brought down Dan Villari, so the clock keeps on winding. 3rd and short and only 45 seconds to go in the half. Syracuse absorbs the blitz, and this time Villari's open deep down the field across the 50 to the 47.
You mentioned it right there. It was a nice job of absorbing that blitz, giving Villari the time to get open.
Quick snap, 34 seconds to go before the half. Coming underneath, the Orange will take the incompletion as Yassine Willis couldn't bring it in. Get a chance to get a couple of plays in here with 28 seconds to go before the half.
Yeah, the one-time Nebraska signee, Vincent Carroll Jackson, in the backfield again, getting good pressure, kind of forcing Angeli to almost have to kind of go airborne to even make that throw.
Villari was the top target so far in this half, 6 catches for 66 yards. We talked to Fran Brown inside of about 53 yards. That's Trip Woody's territory. If the Orange need to kick something in the 55-plus range, they're likely looking at Jaden O here late. Angeli for Villari, right at the sticks. Villari goes forward and picks up the first down. He's having a heck of a first half, and the Orange are now inside of field goal range with 20 seconds to go before the end of half one. Clock down to 15, still just the one Syracuse timeout. Angeli takes a sideline shot for Darryl Gill. He's clobbered, and he brought it in. It's a catch, pulled in at the 11 as Gill absorbs the hit and gets a foot down.
With the timeout, you still have the time to take a shot here in the end zone. Nice throw here by Angeli. Gill going up, got it down.
Did.
Beautiful execution there.
So first down for Syracuse. They're in the red zone for the 4th time today. We'll see if the booth's going to take a look at this one.
That's another great review break here for Syracuse on this drive.
I think Jim Mora may have called a timeout in order to give the booth a chance to look at it a bit longer. He ran down the field to the sideline.
Connecticut is not charged a timeout. We have a catch, first down. The clock will start on the snap.
So a call upheld. Connecticut and Jim Mora wanted to make sure there was a look there. 9 seconds to go before the half. It's the 4th time Syracuse has been in the red zone today. They only have 3 points to show for it.
Yeah, I guess in a quick hit play, you want to make sure, because obviously
the ruling on the field is a catch. Previous play is under further review.
So now we're going to look at it.
I mean, it looked like he'd be good if he made that catch tomorrow.
And I think on these turf fields, the dead giveaway, watch the black fly up.
See it? Yep.
Yep.
That left foot looks like he got down.
Yep.
Now, I get UConn wanting this to, because again, that was a big play, but now with the one timeout, you're also giving Syracuse a chance on the snap to get one play off, still have that timeout if you need to line up, kick a field goal.
Yep.
So now they get a little bit more time to kind of put together a game plan here on how they want to execute in this final 9 seconds and getting a shot at the end zone.
Obviously, you're looking really only at the end zone here, right?
Yeah.
It's a heck of a catch by Gill.
Yeah, it was great. I get where it seemed pretty clear. Obviously,
After further review, the ruling on the field of a catch is upheld. First down, Syracuse.
Gill 3 catches, 44 yards. Say this his best. And Syracuse has a 1st and 10 from the UConn 14. Because the booth ends up reviewing it, Connecticut will get that timeout back and has 2 to work with.
But now again, the clock does not start till the snap, so Syracuse has had a chance here to really kind of try to draw something up here in this 9 seconds, be able to take a shot at the end zone, still have that timeout to make sure that they come away with points.
Keep an eye on the tight end Villari, who's split out to the left. Pressure coming, it's picked up. Angeli over the middle, and it's broken up. Probably should have been picked by Tyrese Mills, who jumped the route.
Yeah, Taekwon King, number 10, was really back there pretty quickly to create that pressure there. And talked about Tyrese Mills, he has played an outstanding first. You see number 10 coming right down. Willis tries to get a piece of him. He's able to slow him a little bit, but making that throw over. And
5 seconds left. Syracuse going to keep the offense on the field, try to sneak in one more quick shot. It's a risk here for the Orange.
It's going to have to be quick, and I'd imagine here too, even with that time, Bill, they're going to have to go to the short side over here.
Yep. And now it looks like Fran Brown will use his final timeout. With that behind you, imagine now you send the kicking team out.
Yeah, I mean, you have to, because again, they had to burn timeouts earlier in this half, but that was, they say Father Time waits for no one there, and 5 seconds trying to execute that with one timeout. You would have had to do something really quick to that short side.
And I think it's important that you've kept bringing this up because, at the beginning you take a timeout on a punt, you don't think too much of it, but those 2 timeouts cost Syracuse maybe 20-25 seconds more chances toward the field here to go to the end zone. Fran Brown was a little bit heated this week. He told us he just hates losing, and obviously any coach at this level hates losing, but I think he hates it at a whole nother level. Said you put 168 hours a week of prep into a game like that, you feel like you almost lose a part of yourself. He's bounced back really well after losses here, but this first half has not been a clean bounce back at all for Syracuse.
Yeah, he says, I hate losing, but I love getting better. But in this first half, it probably doesn't felt like they've gotten much better.
Trip Woody was good from 38, his first career college field goal earlier. This one from 32 late in the half. Snaps a bit low, good hold from Stonehouse, and Woody delivers it right into those good hands. Back-to-back field goals for Trip Woody. That closes out the second quarter. Syracuse does manage some points here, but UConn will have the football when we come back.
Syracuse at least able to cut it to a 1-score game, but yeah, UConn defensively, offensively with an outstanding first half. Most importantly, they've been able to extend that lead a little.
Yeah, let's look at some of those defensive plays from UConn. You mentioned 2 drives stalling inside the red zone for Syracuse on 4th down, and they've been in Angeli's face a lot today as well.
Yeah, it's been a nice job just defensively there. That was a 4th down play that they were able to get the pressure here, trying to squeeze one in right before the half. Tyrese Mills, who had an outstanding first half with the breakup here. This would be their first score, the double pass, hitting their tight end, Honig, and then this was the big run by Mel Brown. After the UConn defense had really been stepping up with stop after stop after stop, the Huskies offense finally paid him back with that nice run by Brown.
Meanwhile, for Syracuse, best spot on offense so far has been the tight end Dan Villari. 7 catches over 70 yards in the first half.
Yeah, he has been their most consistent target, played a big role in what Syracuse was able to do there down the stretch to put that field goal on and help to kind of cut that lead to a 1-score game right before the half.
2 for 4 in the red zone for Syracuse and just 2 field goals. They were stopped on 4th down twice in the red zone. Settled for field goals the other 2 times. The Huskies start the second half with the ball. Mel Brown, who already has a touchdown today, going nowhere on the return. The flag comes in late, which will likely back UConn up with some tough field position to start half 2.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Number 13, return team, 10-yard penalty, first down.
DB Cam Chadwick called for the penalty, so UConn will back up inside its own 20. Joe Fignano's done what he's expected to do, 10 of 14 for 87 yards. Missed a couple passes, but for the most part has gotten into his playmakers. Connecticut's rushed for 73 yards on 15 carries, but 45 of those 73 came on the Mel Brown touchdown run.
Yeah, but like nice balance, 15 carries, 15 pass attempts. They've done a nice job really offensively of being balanced, and a lot of those big plays coming, especially that one Mel Brown right at the end of the half, but they've really done a nice job offensively of working the run and pass.
UConn starts at its own 10. Running back Victor Rosa in motion. Fignano out quick for Skylar Bell. There's the breathing room, and there's a first down. Bell gains 11 before he's wrestled down by Chris Peel and Demetrius Samuel, the 17-year-old quarterback who starts for Syracuse.
Seventh-year college player, working the way of the second youngest player in all of FBS.
Syracuse brings pressure, and Rosa runs right on through it. Gets the 35 before he's driven back by David Reese. Talk about a seventh-year quarterback. How about an eighth-year defensive end? David Reese in his 8th year of college football. He debuted in Florida all the way back in 2018.
2 years ago was all Pac-12 at Cal and bounced around, but he certainly, as you mentioned, brings a lot of experience. But two elder statesmen on the field there with Reese and Fignano.
Multiple season-ending injuries for Reese. That's how he's earned so much extra eligibility. Second down and 5. The pitch to Rosa. Couldn't get Fignano down, and he fires it for Bell and a first down. Joe Fignano escapes the blitz of David Amar Poriola, and UConn's moving.
Yeah, Fignano, not the type of play you kind of expect. They're going to boot him out. It's a nice job there by the defensive end of being in position. He just can't make the tackle in space. Fignano's able to break loose and find his trusty target there, Skylar Bell. Really nice play there by Fignano.
This feels like a huge tone-setting drive to this second half as UConn's trying to go up by 2 scores. It's Terrence Smith, the burner, who gets the handoff. Syracuse has covered him well today. All 3 times he's touched the ball. Deuce Chestnut clobbers him after a 2-yard gain.
Yeah, but it almost feels like UConn's like, we're going to keep giving him his touches, and at some point there's going to be a seam just big enough where he's going to be able to explode through it. The one like we saw from Mel Brown, but certainly got some options. But
I guess Mel Brown's already the burner,
yeah.
So you'd say that Terrence Smith is what, the afterburner, the hyper burner. 2nd and 7. Clean pocket, Fignano, a quick hitter across the middle for Alex Honig. Caught the touchdown earlier. This time it's a 4-yard gain. Chris Peel with the hit. 3rd and short as the Syracuse defense tries to get off the field. Still down just a score.
Yeah, but a nice job there by Fignano, just getting the completion, moving it, putting him in a really nice 3rd down situation here. In terms of 3rd and short.
It's where this place can get loud.
Talked about UConn pretty deep at tight end.
Yep.
A lot of 12 personnel. I think they're going to try to keep it on the ground here.
Got Honig and Hansen in at tight end. Edwards in the backfield flanking Fignano. Will pass on 3rd and 2. Fignano going for Edwards. He's open on the wheel route inside the 30. He beat the linebacker Derek McDonald down to the 22.
3rd and short came out. 12 personnel, two tight ends to the left, making Syracuse think potentially they're going to try to run it for that first. Well executed, finding Edwards down the sideline.
Now a quick pass for Bell. In some open space, Bell turning the corner. Ball came out, but goes out of bounds after the tackle by Samuel. So possession will stick with UConn. 2nd and medium upcoming.
Fumble forward, ball will be spotted back at the 15-yard line.
Officially a 7-yard gain, 2nd and 3. UConn in the red zone for the 2nd time. Again, quick out to Bell. Open space. That is a fabulous tackle by Cornell Perry, redshirt junior safety. Fran Brown said he does everything fast, and there he made a fast tackle on one of the best playmakers in the Northeast.
Yeah, you see outstanding angle by Perry, and then going low, wrapping him up around the legs. Nice play after UConn had really kind of got some momentum going on that drive.
Loss of 3. 3rd and 6. UConn is 3 for 7 on third down today. They'll run it with Edwards around the end. Gary Bryant, the third, snuffed it out. Former FCS All-American linebacker at South Dakota makes the hit and forces a UConn field goal attempt.
Yeah, really that play was kind of started by number 9, Isaiah Hastings. He got a great push into the backfield. You're going to see number 9 fire off. He's going to push back the tackle and the guard and allow the linebacker to clear over the top.
Chris Freeman on the kick. Last week, an up and down day for him. He made a 29-yarder, but he missed from 35. It is exactly a 35-yard field goal once again. You can give UConn a 2-score lead. Nearly pulled it, but just sneaks it inside the upright. And the Huskies jump ahead by 11. So UConn starts on its own 10, drives to the red zone, and takes 3 points. Huskies up 11. UConn goes 10 plays, 73 yards, ends with a 35-yard field goal, so it's a big drive for Syracuse. First touch for the Orange to start half 2. Fran Brown trying to avoid back-to-back losses for the first time as a head coach and for the first time even as an assistant since 2021. I mean, we have heard the way he can get on his players, get on his coaches, very open about that. I imagine there was some fire in the locker room at halftime.
Well, some of what we saw on the sidelines was a preview. I'm sure he was pretty fired up at halftime.
First chance for Malachi James to return a kick this season, and he's cut down short. Only makes it to the 15. You know, if you are a Syracuse fan and you're looking for glass half full, this is a team that has come from behind. They did it a number of times last year. This is the most notable comeback. Their last home game fell behind 21-0 to Miami and came back to win that game.
Yeah, and obviously that was a big tone setter. A game that, as he mentioned, Clemson benefited from. But listen, I will say this. The thing is, they just lack any type of consistency, momentum in this game in terms of offensively. And really throughout all 3 phases, they just kind of need to finish a drive. They came out of that first half leading in time of possession.
Steve Angeli was 14 for 24 in the first half. He gives it to Will Nixon here, and they'll push the pile ahead for 2. It's again not very balanced for Syracuse in that first half. They threw it 24 times, and if you take away the sacks and quarterback runs, they only handed the ball to running backs 10 times in that first half.
Yeah, we talked about Yasin Willis and his size and what he could bring, and really just a handful of touches for him in that first half. You got to, as you mentioned, you got to credit this UConn defense as well. That defensive line is giving away size, but they play with great leverage. A lot of the movement they do has been able to allow them to kind of create some issues.
It's Jonte Cook in motion. He's been very quiet, just 1 catch for 4 yards. Angeli goes quick out for Will Nixon, immediately smothered Tyrese Mills, who had a fabulous first half getting into the backfield, makes another good hit here to set up third down.
Yeah, Mills has played really well, and that's another thing UConn has done well on defense today is not allowing a lot of yards when they do give up completion, quick to make the tackle.
Officially a 3rd and 3 for Syracuse, needs the 27 for a first down. Willis has checked in here. Syracuse did pick up a first down on a 3rd and 5 by running the ball with Willis back in the first half.
Only 3 of 8 in that first half on third down.
Throw it here, Angeli gets it out quick, throws it high, and missed Justice Ross Simmons, who is yet to bring a ball in today, and the Orange go 3 and out. Devin Pringle was in the hip pocket of Ross Simmons.
And on that play that was a turnover on 4th down, he took that big shot. His looked fine, but we talked about it. He's really kind of struggled with his completion percentage since he took that hit in the second quarter, Bill.
Since that hit, he's 5 of 12 after he started 10 of 13. And 4 of those 5 completions came on that drive to get a field goal before the half. Jack Stonehouse to punt it away again. Jackson Harper's the return man. This is a low kick. Bounces in front of Harper and takes a Syracuse hop inside the 20. Still rolling and killed at the 15. It's a 57-yard punt. Backs UConn up. Huskies up 11.
The College Football Playoff begins December 19th and concludes with the National Championship January 19th on ESPN.
Already counting down the days till the college football playoff gets going in mid-December. Take a look around the ACC scoreboard. Last night, Louisville with a 2-touchdown win over a game James Madison squad. Duke and Illinois locked in a good one. That'd be a big win for the Blue Devils. No hangover for Florida State after beating Alabama 56-0 up on East Texas A&M. SMU locked in a good one with Baylor. NC State was down 13 at the half. They've come back to build a 3-point lead. And Pittsburgh on top of Central Michigan. After the Syracuse 3-and-out, UConn has the ball again, up 11. The 73-yard field goal drive last time. On first down, Cam Edwards is gobbled up and a flag comes in, and now another. 2 flags thrown. David Reese made the tackle on Edwards for basically no gain.
Personal foul, legal blindside block. Number 13, offense. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat first down.
So that's Chris Parker, the wide receiver, who gets tagged for the blindside block. Half the distance to the goal. It'll be about an 8-yard penalty.
And number 13 is going to be coming from the left side of the screen. See him watch it. You can't do that. You have to. The only way you could do is with open palms. He comes in, leans into him. Easy call there for the officials.
So first down and 18 for UConn. Now the Huskies backed up inside their 10. Syracuse has talked about emphasizing takeaways this year. This would be an opportune time for one of those. Vignano looking over Bell's way. Bell slipped and then bobbled it. Still nearly brought it in as Demetrius Samuel tried to stick with him. Second down and 18.
A little bit off target there. Trying to find Bell again. He's a few targets today. Maybe one of the more underrated wide receivers in all of college football. Big numbers a year ago.
All things considered, Syracuse has done pretty well on Bell. They've limited him to 6 catches for 38 yards. But that Husky trick play for the first touchdown, the big Mel Brown run for the second. Big difference makers at this point. Edwards trying to go wide, and he is swallowed up. David Amapariola, who missed a big tackle earlier, hits one in the backfield here. It's 3rd and 20, and with an 11-point lead, Chris Peel also there to make the hit. You wonder if Jim Mora will say, hey, let's play it safe here on 3rd and 20.
Yeah, trying to bounce that outside. You see Peel do a nice job of slipping the block, breaking down, making that tackle here.
Play by the Georgia transfer, Chris Peel, 3rd and 20. Crowd trying to help spark the Orange as UConn's backed up to its own 5. Thinking draw here.
Draw, screen, yep.
Finiano setting his feet, throws underneath. Shamar Porter's got it. Still has a long way to go. He turns the corner and he's tackled right near the sticks. About a yard short as Shamar Porter nearly turned nothing into something. Instead, UConn will have to punt.
Romello Murphy was a big reason why they came so close. He had a great block. They're going to just go underneath the Porter. Now watch number 6. See if he gets in the screen here. See him right there making 2 blocks. Just fell short of getting that first. Now you got to watch too the snap here.
You remember Zach Christianot missed one high for the 2nd straight week back in the first half.
And they had an issue in week 1 as well.
It's a good snap this time. Stutz nearly had it blocked. He got it away. Kerr calls for fair catch and makes it at the 31. It's a 46-yard punt that was nearly blocked by Syracuse.
Yeah, still, we've seen some good punting here. Now a chance. Obviously, the defense stepped up. UConn with a little bit of some self-inflicted wounds in that drive to kind of push it back inside their own 5. At one point now, an opportunity for the Syracuse offense. Yasin Willis, who hasn't gotten a bunch of touches, is out there with him today. This game is far from out of hand. Could they maybe try to continue to feed him?
And Angeli, 15 of 26, but again, just 5 of his last 13. Start with a play action. Angeli dumps it in the no man's land. Not on the same page with Willis at all there. Parham was covering Angeli. Diamande pressured Angeli, and the crowd's getting a little restless here.
Yeah, it almost seemed like he expected after that fake handoff for Willis to turn around and be out there in the flat. Again, pressure in his face. This UConn defense, obviously Jim Mora's background on defense, not shocking to see the way that they've played on that side of the ball today.
I don't want to be a broken record, but it feels like at some point you got to give number 6 some carries, right? Just 6 carries for Yassine Willis to this point in the game.
I'm with you.
2nd and 10. Syracuse to throw once again. Angeli off his back foot, and again he's not on the same page with Willis. That time over the top of him. It is 3rd and 10. Diamande was in the backfield once more.
And Nixon checks it in, almost like they were setting up screen. Willis was in there to block, but yeah, 2 plays in a row. They just certainly seem to not be on the same page. Now setting up a 3rd and long. I mentioned Nixon checked in the game, a little bit more of a receiving option out of the backfield.
Another factor in this game, Jonte Cook, game time decision. Player Syracuse going to rely on at wide receiver. Only got 1 catch for 4 yards today. He's out there in the slot, top of your picture, wearing number 2. It's 3rd and 10. Pressure coming, clean off the edge. Angeli's wrapped up, and Brian Parham takes him down for the sack. Syracuse 3 and out.
Yeah, nice job, Parham, getting around the edge, and he had to come a little bit wide. And you're going to watch Weatherspoon kind of blocks Angeli's escape route. He comes around, he tries to get near his tackle, allows Parham the opportunity to be able to come back on it and make the play.
Another Jack Stonehouse punt. When the highlight of your day on the offense side of the ball is what you've done on punt coverage, it's not always a great sign, but the Orange have covered punts incredibly well here. That's Daryl Gill, the wide receiver, who just slobber knocked Harper there for no gain on the return. Crunching blow from Gill, but now the Orange need to get something going on offense. UConn up 11. Already starting to look like fall in Syracuse. Leaves starting to change outside Carnegie Library, which in fact is not the library at Syracuse University. Now replaced by Bird Library. They teach math in that building these days.
False advertising.
17-6 lead for UConn. The defense has been fabulous, particularly here in the second half. Now can the offense capitalize? Vignano avoids some pressure, gets it to Skylar Bell. Getting tackled well in the open field, this time by Greg Delane Jr., but not before a 7-yard Bell gain.
Yeah, you know, it's obviously it's a 3-phase game. It feels like for Syracuse, you and I were talking during the break, that they need their defense to kind of help maybe ignite that torch a little bit, help that offense out. But a really nice, I mean, how does a player like Bell get that wide open even though it was underneath, setting him up here, a nice 2nd down. 2nd
and a long 2. Call it 3 for UConn here.
That long of a 2.
Pitch it wide, Victor Rosa turns the corner. That's a 1st down as Rosa's sent into the UConn sideline by Gary Bryant III after gaining 6 and a 1st down.
Yeah, nice job blocking out there on the edge, including the redshirt junior, Ben Morawski.
You mentioned it to me during the break, but this feels like a drive for UConn where you could really start to take control the way that Syracuse has struggled to move the ball today. If you go up 3 scores, that seems like a mighty high mountain for the Orange to climb. Romello Murphy slips a tackle, cuts back, 1st down in Orange territory at the 40.
And I like the way, I thought they were a little uneven in that week 1 win, maybe because they're offensively, they were so powerful against Central Connecticut State, but I really like the way that these Connecticut receivers are blocking out in the edge for each other.
Well, and one of the things that Gordon Samus, the offensive coordinator, told us is, hey, I'm a former offensive line coach. I tell my receivers, you don't block, you're not getting the ball. You can go play somewhere else.
Exactly. And it seems like today that message has gotten through because they've done a really nice job of helping each other out in those throws out to the edge.
Rashard Perry is the injured Syracuse player, reserve defensive lineman down at midfield. There is Samus. You know, one of the things that Jim Mora told us, he had that stint where he was an analyst for us over at ESPN. So he watched a lot of the great college coaches during that time, tried to learn from them. And one of the things he kind of deduced is that all the great head coaches, they're really CEO types. They don't call the X's and O's, they manage the program. So he said when he got to UConn, he kind of started thinking about himself less as an X's and O's coach and more as the mentor type, emotional leader, guy who's there for his players, and has really been hands-off, allowing his coordinators, Samus and Matt Brock, to run their units.
Yeah, I mean, running an FBS program is a lot. You got to be able to delegate, and it seems like he's been able to do that. And he's been rewarded really by both of his coordinators today, because on both sides of the ball defensively, we were kind of joking around a little earlier about how, you know, Matt Brock, the defense coordinator, like he wears every play on his sleeve, and that unit has really played well for him today. And then on offense, doing a nice job as well. Sam is calling a good game, good balance.
So after Perry's helped off the field, first down for UConn at the Syracuse 40. Cam Edwards in at running back. 9 carries, 27 yards for Edwards today. He's been limited. Here's his 10th touch. And once again, he is stopped up, turns the legs to at least pick up a couple. Derek McDonald, the veteran linebacker, and Anwar Sparrow were there. We've got another injured player down for Syracuse. George Rooks, the Boston College transfer, who's slow to get back up. And along with Rooks slow to get up, another Syracuse player is down in the field. Right in front of the Syracuse sideline. And it is the defensive end, Dennis Jaquez. Second time we've seen him down on the field today. We were told before the game he woke up a little under the weather as well, and it's been a physical game down there in the trenches. Staff will help get Jaquez a couple of steps off to the sideline. Senior out of Pennsauken, New Jersey. Already was a New Jersey pipeline to Syracuse with Fran Brown and Elijah Robinson, both from Camden, New Jersey. They have absolutely loaded up on New Jersey talent as we watch Jaquez on the right side come on in, and looks like he might have stepped on George Rooks, because remember, Rooks got up slowly, and that led to Jaquez coming up lame as well.
And see, as soon as he did that, he started walking a bit gingerly.
Yep. Rose in at running back. It's 2nd and 9 for UConn. The Huskies already lead by 11. Looking for a big program-building win here at Syracuse. Vignano over the middle. He slings it to Honig. A flag is down in the backfield, likely a hold on Connecticut.
Holding, number 78, offense, 10-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
Right tackle Karsten Cassidy gets caught this time, and will send UConn into a 2nd and 19.
Cassidy working at the right tackle right up top. See number 8 trying to get the edge there. That is Reese.
Sends UConn back to its Syracuse 49.
And a big chance here for this Orange defense now to capitalize this and get this UConn offense off the field.
So not a lot of pressure on Vignano. He's been sacked just once today. He's pressured this time, and it is sent away. Isaiah Hastings was in the picture. So too was David Reese, who was held on the last play. And now you see why, as Reese cut to the inside and bats down Vignano's pass.
Yeah, 2 plays in a row that Reese is able to make an impact there. You saw it the last previous play where he drew the holding penalty. He was working off the edge. They are working inside. Again, veteran player, 8th year in college football, been around. Previous stop at Cal back in 2023, had a big season, and now this is a chance. They've notched their first sack of the year earlier in this game. Opportunity here in 3rd and long.
Vignano with a quick screen, take the sack out of the equation. Romello Murphy turns the corner. He's escorted out after about a 6-yard gain. The cornerback Delane and the safety McDaniels both there for Syracuse. 4th and 13. You're in an odd spot at the 44, but obviously you're going to punt here.
This is where you hope your punter, you've done a nice job today to deliver. Can you change field position? Can you get that Syracuse offense, which has kind of been sputtering today, especially since that first drive? You got to get them inside their 10, make them earn it, have to drive down the field. Again, I don't want you got to overemphasize the fact that they have had some snapper exchange issues here on punt this year early on, twice, 2 bad snaps.
Connor Stutz is the punter. This is another good snap this time. That ball hops at the 6. Coffin cornered and out
Delivers.
at the 3. Excellent punt by Connor Stutz. The UConn up 11 and has Syracuse pinned back deep. Just 178 yards of offense for Syracuse today. They moved the ball well early, got into the red zone 4 times in the first half, but turned it over on downs twice, 2 field goals. Here in the second half, they've gone 3 and out on respective back-to-back drives. Really, weirdly, Craig, if they haven't gotten in the red zone, they haven't gotten a first down. Their 4 punts today have all been 3 and outs.
Yeah, but they've had scoring opportunities by getting into the red zone, but now UConn did what they needed to do. It was a beautiful punt. They're going to force Syracuse to get this offense going. They're going to have to drive a long way.
Worst field position of the game for Syracuse. Angeli is throwing again. First time today that he finds Justice Ross Simmons. It's a 6-yard gain. It gives Syracuse some breathing room. Again, we've talked about it a bunch here, but Angeli's now thrown it 29 times. The Orange have handed it to a running back only 11 times today. Here's number 12. You've seen Willis on the carry, and he's swallowed up. Willis tackled by Ben Smiley. Brian Parham helped him out at the end, but Smiley's gotten in the backfield a couple of times on Willis.
Well, Willis wanted to punch that up inside between the guards. There was nowhere to go. He tried to bounce it. Nice job by Smiley, just staying home, playing his assignment. He was there to swallow up and be able to make the tackle.
Sets up a 3rd and 4. Syracuse still looking for its first down of this second half. 3 and out on each of its first 2 drives. Gill, the lone receiver, to the bottom of your screen. No one open over the middle. Angeli finds Ross Simmons. Had to go to his 4th or 5th option and found him at the end. Good progression, strong throw, and a first down.
And that's one of the strengths we certainly see from Angeli. Do a nice job picking up pressure to bring 4 and just working through and then finding his receiver over the middle. A nicely thrown ball there. There was some traffic there. Well placed ball.
Give it to Nixon. Good hole up the middle. Oh, he delivers the boom on Lee Millette. It's a loud 5-yard run by Will Nixon. You don't think of him as the cruncher in this Syracuse backfield, but he did there.
Yeah, no, he came. He was the hammer in that situation. He delivered the shot.
2nd and medium for Syracuse. Angeli's pass tipped at the line and nearly picked. Bounces just in front of Donovan Branch to set up 3rd down.
They've been able to kind of get to Angeli and get a piece of him there, getting good pressure, altering a throw again.
It's another 3rd down opportunity for Syracuse. Picked up their last one, but overall the Orange is 4 of 11 on 3rd downs today. This one is 3rd and 4. Likely the final play of the 3rd quarter, with Syracuse down 2 scores.
He's been quiet since the end of the second half. A big opportunity here to potentially look for Valari.
Lined up just off the left side of the offensive line. Pressure coming. Valari throws high, looking for Jalen Hornsby. So Syracuse will be forced to punt again. Devin Pringle covered him, but that ball was high regardless there.
Yeah, well, I mean, he had 2 defenders. He had Omar Diomande underneath number 32, so Angeli had to kind of go over 2 defenders to try to make that throw. And once again, this UConn defense playing really well. Defensive coordinator Matt Brock has to be really happy with the way his unit has played.
Here's Jack Stonehouse's 5th punt. He's averaging 52.5 yards a kick, and this is another absolute boomer. That was a 54-yard punt and only a 4-yard return. That's the end of the 3rd quarter. Syracuse's offense with just 1 first down in quarter 3. UConn, a defensive clinic to lead 17-6. This does have a little feel of good old Northeastern football here. It's been very physical between UConn and Syracuse. A lot of special teams coverage for the Orange, but UConn's hard hit all game long.
Yeah, I mean, both teams have been flying around. There's been some hard hitting there. And Jelly has taken some shots today, been some big plays on special teams as well.
17-6 UConn, Craig. It's a chance now for the Huskies to maybe put this game out of reach on this drive after their defense got another stop. Vignano pressured by Reese. He gets away from it. Oh, that was nearly picked. Tried to get it to Honig. Great read by Deuce Chestnut, the veteran. He introduced himself to the starting lineup today as a defensive backfield specialist.
When we talked to the Syracuse coach yesterday, they drew a line of delineation between turnover and takeaway.
Yep.
Turnover is when you get the ball. Takeaway is when you actually literally do that takeaway.
Yep.
And I think that's what this defense needs to do.
100%.
As you mentioned, they need a takeaway to really help their offense here as we are early in the fourth quarter and UConn in possession.
Mel Brown takes the give, looking to turn the corner. He does. Slithers through a couple tackles, and that looked like it was going nowhere. It gains 8 yards and sets up 3rd and short. Tackle eventually made by B.J. Long and Dennis Jaquez, who is back out on the field after leaving with an injury earlier.
Yeah, Mel Brown, who's kind of the speedster in that unit, doing a nice job just showing the patience, letting some seams open, and then some physical running as well to put him in a much more manageable 3rd down.
3rd and 2. Edwards, the bruiser, comes back into the game. Vignano lets it go deep, looking for Bell. That short hopped him. Incomplete. So they don't elect to try and run it short. They go for the shot down the sideline, and UConn goes 3 and out.
Yeah, it was really kind of like almost a one-man route. It was kind of odd. Kind of question why Syracuse sometimes has gotten away from the run there. You got Edwards. It almost seems like get that ball on the ground, play it to your favor, try to pick up that 1st down. That
or one of those out flat to your wide receivers, let them have a chance to make a play there. That clock stops, 14:08 to go, and Syracuse will get the ball back. Operation good again for UConn punter Connor Stutz. Kerr calls for a fair catch and backpedals to his 20 to bring it in. It's a 45-yard punt for Connor Stutz. Both punters have been excellent today. Now Clemson looking to bounce back from the LSU game. They play Troy at 3:30. Again, Vanderbilt and Virginia Tech. I feel like that's got a good game written all over it. 7:30 tonight on ACC Network. And if you're staying up late tonight, you got Stanford and BYU starting at 10:15. It's no longer Pac-12 after dark. It's a Big 12 after dark with a 10:15 start for BYU out there.
Well, ACC after dark with Stanford now in the ACC.
Yeah. Will Nixon is in at running back for Syracuse. Again, still just 7 carries for Yassine Willis today. Angeli on play action, taking a deep shot for Darrell Gill, and he hit him! The first deep ball of the game is a big Syracuse completion. Gain of 40 yards to Gill.
Yeah, and a few shots downfield. They're going to work the play action here. Nice job. Just on the post route, see him working. He's got the inside of the safety, and Gill with the big play there. 4
catches for 84 yards for Gill. Angeli goes underneath. Nixon brings it in. Stutter step, 1st down. Syracuse moving with tempo inside the Connecticut 30.
They're trying to build off momentum with that big throw downfield.
Play action, looking for Gill, batted up and down. Guess who it was once again? Tyrese Mills, who was not the starter before an injury last week to Malachi McLean. He is not going to give that starting job up very easily.
He's saying, hey, making the most of the opportunity there. Going up, you don't even see him. He was hiding behind a blue and orange wall and came popping up.
2nd and 10, Yassine Willis checks in for Syracuse and splits to the outside. Angeli sets, throws. There's Jonte Cook, just his 2nd catch of the game. It's a 7-yard gain, 3rd and 3 coming for Syracuse.
Angeli just taking what's underneath, setting him up in a manageable 3rd down here. Again, Valari's been quiet since the end. He was a key part of getting them that 3 points right before the half.
Syracuse down 2 scores. 3rd down and 4. Angeli's hit from behind. Omar Diamande swallowed him up.
He was just a free rusher on that one. Looked like they just brought 4 and still able to pop him loose. You know, Andy right there working in the middle. They also brought number 11 and they just turned him loose. And Jelly had no chance there. See him coming right from the left between the left guard and the left tackle.
So here's Trip Woody. He's made 2 field goals today from 38 and 32. This would be a new long from 48. Sneaking to the right, and it is no good. That is a backbreaker for the Orange. The sack knocks him back, and a missed field goal.
Yeah, drive to start off with a lot of promise with that big throw downfield to Gill. Then the following up the play to mix to the back Nixon, excuse me, and then this one you see he just pushes it right, hits it right, never curves back in, just outside the goalpost. Now we'll see here if UConn have been really balanced today, though. Continue to kind of maybe question maybe that 3rd down call on the previous drive. Try to continue to work that zone game in. Now Edwards in number 0.
Could have been a 1-score game. Instead, UConn up 2 scores with a chance for more. Sending some fans toward the exits here at the JMA Wireless Dome. Vignano back across his body. That was a great pass, and Honig just dropped it. That had a big gain there. The defense had gone with Vignano. Honig had all kinds of acreage in front of him.
We've talked about Honig at one point being a quarterback. He probably wasn't expecting it because they always say don't throw across your body back to the middle. He probably like, hey, you got to target me. I'm behind him. But you're right. It was a nice throw there. By Vignano that almost had potential for a big play.
Honig's been on that ESPN Freaks list each of the last couple of years. His measurables, his weight room workout regimen, off the charts. Edwards cuts it back, found a little hole, and falls forward after a gain of 4, 3rd and 6. Kevin Jobity, senior from Buffalo, makes the tackle.
Yeah, just a couple of yards there. That was really nice vision. You see that backside crease open up and how Edwards is able to hit it. They're going to bring in the speedster now, 15, Terrence Lewis.
Yeah, if you're talking about the Syracuse defense, they've actually entered the bell in this second half. They've gotten the stops, they've gotten off the field. Fran Brown going to ask his defense to do it again here on 3rd and 6. He mentioned that burner, Terrence Smith. He'll motion out of the backfield and come right on back. Vignano quick out, it is broken up. Tank Wilson got his big meaty paw on it, and it's 4th down.
Mention it once again, this defense in the second half responding, looking to go out there. Nice job. They always say you can't get to the quarterback, get your hands up. That's what Tank Wilson does. They'll force a punt.
You think about trying to block one here if you're Syracuse, needing that type of spark? They are up near the line here. It will drop back toward the return as Stutz gets it away. Curve from his 14. Made the first man miss, made another miss. All that work nets him about 3 yards. So the Syracuse defense gets another stop. Now they're begging for their offense to get them some points.
Teams, 16 matches, 2 conferences collide. The ACC-SEC showdown begins Tuesday.
17-6, UConn over Syracuse. 10:45 to go in the 4th quarter. It's the 3rd straight time where Syracuse's defense gotten UConn off the field without points. Last 2 drives, the offense unable to deliver. Look at that split, 232 passing yards, only 17 rushing yards. Now that factors in a few Angeli sacks, but between that and the red zone, those are facets of the game that have really hurt Syracuse today. Steve Angeli, 20 for 32 for 232 yards. He's going to run here along the sideline. He throws last second and gets it forward, complete for a first down. He was just along the line of scrimmage here. That is a clean pass to Tyshawn Russell for a big gain.
Yeah, nice job by Angeli getting out but keeping the eyes downfield.
Angeli will move the pocket this time. Airs it toward the sideline, intercepted. Damon Brinson on the underthrow, pulls it back in, and the UConn defense makes another play.
Nice job by the safety, Brinson. He's underneath Angeli, tries to get it over him. Brinson just keeps dropping. We talked about Syracuse needing to make a big play defensively. It's here, it's UConn. He's gonna roll out. He's got his receiver, watch number 3. He just keeps drifting, squares up. He's able to make that play. He was looking for Tyshawn Russell. He thinks he can get it over him, and just Brinson doing the nice job of just giving ground, squaring up, going up, making that play.
Was it an underthrow, or do you think he just missed Brinson there?
I think he kind of misjudged where Brinson was in the ground that he could make up. I think he felt he had a window there. It was just well played by the senior safety, number 3.
Angeli's second interception of this season. We'll give it to Skylar Bell on the handoff. He bounces it to the outside. Bell's got some room and gains 8 into Syracuse territory. Kept on bouncing that out until he found a crease.
Yeah, it was just, he I don't know if this is good grammar, kind of patiented his way into like an 8-yard run.
I like creating words here. Add needy on, we're good. This has not been a pretty game offensively for either side, but UConn's made enough big plays, and this feels like the 4th or 5th time we've said this half. They've got a drive here where if they can convert, they can basically put this game out of reach. Yeah,
we've talked about Syracuse defense has stepped up, but also talked about where UConn just did. If you're an Orange fan, you need your defense to create a takeaway.
Edwards, foot in the ground, gets to the sticks and gains that extra yard as well. A 4-yard gain and a UConn first down as the clock moves to under 9:31 to play, and will start running again once things are set. We've mentioned a nice job that OC Gordon Samus has done today, and now he seems like he's going to start leaning a little bit more heavily on that run game, that zone ground game. And as you can see, the Huskies really no rush. I think you can see Jim Mora kind of sensing it there too. I just read his lips and said, "Come on, baby," as he gave a fist pump toward the offense here. He told us when he needs some tough yards late to run plays out Cam Edwards territory, and like to see a heavy dose of Edwards here down the stretch. So tight end Lewis Hansen in motion. Right back to Edwards, avoids Joe, but in the backfield, Syracuse swarms. It's McDonald with the finishing blow after a gain of, actually a loss of a yard. Janice Jaquez combining with Derek McDonald. Yeah, they took that snap all the way down to 1 second on the play clock. Now, I almost think, you want to lead it down, but you don't want to give it to the point where the defense knows when to fire off. But yeah. I will say this, too. You just, come on, baby, like in a sense. Remember, we talked, again, this could be a great resume builder for a program trying to find a home in a Power 4 conference here. Now they got to show they can finish. And really tough to manage the schedule as an independent. You got to fill those 12 games each year. You kind of go to Delaware, the newest FBS team, next week. Pitch out, and a good hole for Edwards. Gains about 5 before Gary Bryant, the third, smothers him. So 3rd and roughly 6 here for the Huskies. An interesting part, too, I think, Bill, here, if you're UConn, 3rd and 6, you don't need to get a first down, but if you can get this to 4th and 1, 4th and 2, I think you're at point of the part of the field where I know he feels like his field goal kicker's got some leg, but you potentially get another down. Yep. Try to pick up that first, maintain possession, bleed a little bit more time. See the OC there, Samus, has done a really nice job calling game today. UConn's only 3 for 12 on 3rd down. That's been a weak spot today. Have not picked up a 3rd down conversion in the second half. Vignano throwing for it, hit as he throws, looking for Bell, and that's a heck of a job by the 17-year-old cornerback Samuel to go step for step with him. And again, Syracuse's defense holds up. Samuel, big play, freshman out there on an island working against an excellent wide receiver. Working at the bottom, one-on-one, turns, runs with him, the concentration, the focus, comes back, uses that arm length, plays the ball. ESPN 300 prospect that at one point committed to Florida. Syracuse able to get him back in the mix. Here's Connor Stutz, who's already coughing, cornered one down at the 3. Kerr calls for the fair catch here and brings it in front of a screaming Victor Rosa at the 11. It's a long field for the Orange again. 7:15 to go, and they need 2 scores. You're at the point in the game now. We've talked about maybe a need to run the ball more, but now clock dictates they're going to have to be airing it out and slinging it here. Can the offensive line give Steve Angeli enough time?
Yeah, I mean, listen, UConn's done a really nice job with its pressure. Again, it's a very active front, a lot of movement, can create some confusion. They've been able to pop some guys loose. Big number 55 players like Vincent Carroll Jackson has been able to get some push in that pocket.
Angeli threw a pick on Syracuse's last drive. UConn overload the right side of that line. Syracuse will run it the opposite way. You've seen Willis gets out toward the 17. It's a 7-yard gain as the clock will keep on winding. We've seen UConn stack sides of the offensive line at different times today, and that time Syracuse ran against it.
Yeah, it was smart. There was nobody to the right side.
Go right back to Willis again, and he powers across the 20 for a first down. Well, all game long they've been throwing it. Now you get into what seems like passing situations and back-to-back runs pick up a first down.
The defense gave them a big run lane. They took it and made sure they moved the chains, got the first. Sure they'll probably go up back in the air here.
Angeli to throw. Carroll Jackson moved the pocket. Angeli finds Jalen Hornsby, and the young redshirt freshman wide receiver brings it in again. His 3rd catch of this game. Syracuse has moved the ball about 32 yards already on the drive.
Nice window there. Bobbled a little bit, able to secure it, looked like, before he got back out of bounds.
3 catches for 32 yards for Hornsby. Low snap, Angeli handled it, tried to get it to Willis, and you've seen Willis didn't bring it in. Those two have not connected well passing the football so far today.
Yeah, a little bit behind Willis. Couldn't adjust and make that grab.
Remember, that was such a big strength of the Syracuse offense last year, LaQuint Allen catching passes out of the backfield.
Yeah, I mean, well, LaQuint Allen had monstrous hands.
Yeah.
One of the biggest hands probably in all of college football.
Will Nixon's back in at running back, split out wide. 2nd down. Angeli comes underneath to Tyshawn Russell. Couldn't shake Diamande. He'll gain just 6 and set up 3rd down.
Once again, though, we see some good just open field tackling from UConn. Stephen Wright, defensive lineman, number 92, is down.
So Wright's the injured UConn player before a big 3rd down and 4.
And if you've been watching college football here this year, obviously there's that new injury rule, but
yep.
Wright was down from the get-go, never got up. It only comes into effect if you go down after the ball is spotted.
Yep. Saw a lot of that slowing the game down when Syracuse played Tennessee last week on both sides. Haven't seen that as much today. While they tend to Stefan Wright, we will step aside with UConn ahead by 11. It's been a real long day for Fran Brown and his Orange offense. Still just 6 points on the board. 3rd and 4 coming for Syracuse at the Orange 47. Obviously a must-score drive to get it down to a 1-score game. So already likely in 4-down territory here. So 2 plays to pick up these 4 yards.
Yeah, especially where you're at in the field.
Pressure coming. Angeli throws for Ross Simmons, back shoulder, and it's incomplete. We'll bring up 4th and 4. Tyrese Mills was there covering Ross Simmons. Mills today has 6 tackles, 3 pass breakups, a hurry, and a forced fumble.
Yeah, he has been outstanding today. Almost feels like if you're not sure who to say made the play on defense, just go ahead and say his name.
Penn State transfer in his 2nd year at Connecticut. Stepped into the starting role today.
Big 4th down.
Could be the game, 4th and 4. UConn bringing the house. Syracuse holds up. Angeli hits Ross Simmons in stride. And Justice Ross Simmons with the house call. Touchdown, Orange. Syracuse will go for 2 after the 53-yard touchdown. Angeli to Ross Simmons.
There was some communication. Chadwick was there, kind of just stopped. I don't know if he expected the ball or he thought he was going to be underthrown, and allowed Ross Simmons to be able to break free and give this offense the big play that they needed.
Syracuse can make it a 3-point game if it hits on the 2-point conversion. Orange were 0 for 2 on 2-point tries against Tennessee. UConn blitzes again underneath. Ross Simmons pitches to Nixon, and he's taken down. Wow, Tyrese Mills again as he snuffed that one out.
Yeah, so they were working that yesterday in practice, and had that kind of in the back of my head, and they executed. But Tyrese Mills just doing a great job. Going back to the touchdown, number 13, Cam Chadwick, the redshirt sophomore, was going to be in coverage. He's going to go down the side. See, it's at the bottom of your screen. He's working against Ross Simmons. He's there. He's following the football, and he's stopped. Ross Simmons smartly keeps going. Angeli hits him in stride. And then you see him there working. Chadwick is there. He stops. And then you see Tyrese Mills there with the shallow angle. They bring pressure, get the protection, and then a nice throw there from Angeli to hit Ross Simmons, and then Bill on his 2-point play, trying to go a little bit of trickery, going inside on the tunnel screen, flips it back to Nixon, but number 14, Mills, has had a great game today. They're in position to make the tackle.
So now Syracuse within a score, 17-12. They've asked their defense to make a stop on 4 straight drives. They'll ask them to do it once more. Have a chance to definitely feel like steal this one the way this game's gone today. UConn will try to run out the clock here as Jaden O hammers the kick down, and Mel Brown will let it bounce. Well, Jim Mora told us when we talked to him, this is the time of game where you lean on your running game, you lean on Cam Edwards. Syracuse done a nice job on Edwards today. He has just 46 yards on 15 carries.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Syracuse knows too you're going to be running. You got to mix it up a little bit. You see to continue. Obviously Edwards really strong within that zone scheme of theirs.
The fans who remain making a lot of noise, and it echoes in this building. Big shifts for UConn. Edwards behind Fignano. Edwards first down run, big seam. Edwards almost breaks it. Chestnut wrestles him down at the 50. Give him 26 yards.
They're working that 12 personnel, 2 tight ends. As you mentioned, they shifted him over to the right, and that's where they're going to go. See number 86, 78, 73, doing a nice job creating that seam there that Edwards exploits.
Put it right at the 50. UConn will let that clock wind. Both teams with their full complement of 3 timeouts. We'll go under 5 minutes left in the game before the Huskies snap it here. They punted on their last 5 possessions. It's Edwards again. He goes to the left this time and surges ahead. Very strong first down run. He gets 7 yards.
Yeah, Bill, they just essentially just flipped that play from the boundary to the field side.
Tank Wilson is down for Syracuse. Edwards, again, been bottled up for the most part today, but in a big moment here, 2 great runs to start.
Yeah, they're doing a really nice job leading on the strength, and that's the whole thing with that outside zone, just pushing things, trying to create a seam, and Edwards has such good vision. Twice being able to find it, working it to the left. We'll see Tank Wilson, number 4, kind of working in there, trying to hurdle some of the traffic there.
It's a big 6'5", 305-pound tackle trying to run the hurdles there, and caught a couple of bodies on the way through. So he goes into the tent. Isaiah Hastings often fills Wilson's void when he's not on the field. So it'll be a 2nd and 4 upcoming here for UConn. You got to imagine keep it up with the heavy dose on the ground, but you wonder, does Gordon Samus take a play action shot at some point here?
Well, I think here, so I was just thinking, you say keep it on the ground, but here in the second and short, you got an opportunity where you're at in the field again, even on third down, potentially don't need to get it first. You can get it to a 3rd and 1 where you're at. Maybe you try to push forward, get it first. So I think you could play a little bit, so to speak, with house money on this second down. But again, I don't think you need to. Maybe a little bit. You're right. Maybe a little bit of a play action. Maybe see if you can kind of catch Syracuse off guard.
Tank Wilson played just 5 games last year before season-ending injury. Big part of that Syracuse defensive line. He was dinged up a bit last week as well. You see Fran Brown in there getting a look at his big defensive tackle. Now, if you're joining us late here, Syracuse stopped on 4th down inside the red zone twice early in the game. UConn scored the opening touchdown on a trick play. Wide receiver John Nader with a pass to tight end Alex Honig. They got a big Mel Brown 45-yard touchdown run, led 14-6 at the half. Syracuse just scored on a 53-yard Justice Ross Simmons touchdown. Missed on the 2-point conversion. 5-point game, 4:30 to go. Clock running, 2nd and 4 UConn.
Yeah, with that injury timeout, UConn had a little bit of time to think. Like I said, it's an interesting second down. There's quite a few ways that the Huskies can go with this.
You can get greedy here, but you just stick with what you're doing. That's the decision for Gordon Samus, the offensive coordinator, with Edwards behind Finiano. They will run it to Edwards. It's blown up in the backfield. Edwards only gets to the line of scrimmage. Syracuse got penetration across the board, and it was cleaned up by Derek McDonald, the linebacker.
Yeah, essentially just kind of stayed on script there, trying to work their run. Went right to first down. First play, then back to the left, going back to the right. Edwards fired up, disappointed in himself. Big 3rd down here. Again, I think where you're at in the field, you can get this to 4th and 1. Keep that offense out there.
Oh, Syracuse might have jumped. Flag is out. It's a free play. Finiano taking a shot, broken up, but it'll be a 1st down UConn as the hard count from Finiano got the Cuse into the neutral zone. That's a 7th-year veteran picking his spot for a hard count.
Defense, 5-yard penalty, number 91. Results in a 1st down.
George Rooks, the veteran transfer from Boston College, tagged on the offsides.
And for the most part, overall, it's been a pretty clean game penalty-wise there, but a tough one there. Rooks right in the middle. Over here, you see.
Looked like Rashard Perry also jumped there. I think
actually,
both Rooks and Perry went in. So it's a 1st down for UConn, 3:19 to go. This is probably where Fran Brown starts thinking about using those 3 timeouts. Edwards stays in at running back. Again, Syracuse penetrates and Edwards goes down for a 4-yard loss. Fran Brown will use his first timeout with 3:12 to go. Kevin Jobody, who had a sack earlier with another tackle for a loss.
Well, that's the way you kind of really disrupt that zone run game, is you just get back there, don't ever let it get started. And Jobody just fired back there. He's working right to the right side of your screen. You see him just fire in there, and there's no way for Edwards to kind of get working laterally, head of steam, and find something. Number 94 just firing off low, just splits center and guard.
Yeah, Jobody was in there, but the whole line looks like it won. Rooks was there, Reese was there on the cutback as well.
That's why it would have been a bit interesting coming off of that injury timeout to maybe put it up in the air, just to try to maybe stop that defense from maybe just thinking automatic run.
And now you're back in a situation where you can't fool them with a play action because you have to possibly anticipate a pass. Do you put it in the air, risk stopping the clock, or do you make Syracuse use its timeouts?
In the first half, they really executed a nice screen play to Edwards.
2nd and 14 for the Huskies. They'll keep it on the ground. Edwards cuts back and gains the yards he lost. Still going to be 3rd and 10.5. Antoine Delorier, the freshman, made the tackle, and now Fran Brown will use the second timeout.
If you're UConn, you know, you can get 5 on this way. You're probably right about boundary of maybe trying to kick a field goal.
It's almost what you got to be thinking for here. Call a play to get into field goal range at least, right? Make it an 8-point game and at least give you that touchdown and 2-point conversion cushion. Kicker Chris Freeman made one earlier today from 38 yards on the year, 2 for 3 with that 38-yarder is long. He's also missed one from 35 yards. We watched him in warm-ups. He kicked 2 from 54. He made one, but the second one came down 7 or 8 yards short.
And if you don't get anything here to UConn, potentially you're thinking, all right, our punter's already pooch really nice. And if not, maybe potentially you have a pooch punch scenario. Because you still are going to force Syracuse to have to score a touchdown to win.
It's 3rd and 11. It's a reverse to Skylar Bell, trying to turn the corner. Hanson a lead block. Syracuse swarms the ball. No gain. Deuce Chestnut, Antoine Delorier, and David Amapariola were all there in the frame. Really well covered. And you're in that no man's land spot here if you're UConn.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing that happened on that play offensive for UConn was able to stay in bounds, but beautifully defended by the Orange defensively here. And I think you either pooch punt or listen, I think their punter has proven that, you know, he could be trusted in this situation. Again, though.
Can you trust the long snap from Zach Trisnat? He's had 2 bad ones over the course of the first 2 weeks. Fran Brown did not choose to use his timeout, so the clock ticks down to 2 minutes and 15 seconds and counting. It is a good snap. Stutz inside the 10, big bounce. UConn trying to save it, that hits the goal line. It was a great effort there inside the 1-yard line by Kyleesh Hicks, the gunner, but as he tossed the ball back, it hit the goal line, and that means Syracuse will get it at the 20, needing a touchdown to win it after they trailed by as much as 11 earlier in this quarter.
Yep, they'll get a snap before the 2-minute timeout, so he'll get that extra timeout. Again, Bill, you got to go back to 2021, the last time that Fran Brown was a part of a coaching staff that lost 2 games in a row. It has not been a pretty day overall, but his offense is in a position where it wants to be in control.
Steve Angeli is 24 for 43. He's thrown for 333 yards and a touchdown. Syracuse has 1 timeout plus the 2-minute timeout and 2:06 remaining. Angeli starts the drive under pressure, dumps it underneath, and gets Nixon with the 2-minute timeout behind him. He'll take that 7-yard gain in the middle of the field and set up 3rd and 3. Well, it has been ugly for the most part here, but Syracuse has the ball with a chance to go down the field and win the game. We've hit the 2-minute timeout. There's offensive coordinator Jeff Nixon. His unit needs to go 73 yards in the next minute 59. Syracuse has 1 timeout to work with, trailing by 5. Steve Angeli's thrown for 337 yards and a touchdown. Well, you think about all the missed opportunities, turning it over on downs twice in the red zone, a missed field goal. You could erase all of that if you can just put this drive together if you're Angeli in the orange. 2nd and short, Angeli to the sideline. Jonte Cook picks up the first down, and he's out to the 38, an 11-yard gain. Brian Parham makes the tackle, and the orange will move in the hurry up.
And we're seeing the better accuracy from Angeli that was kind of missing there late 2nd quarter, that most of the 3rd quarter.
1:45 to go. Angeli is crushed as he throws. Brian Parham, the redshirt senior Washington transfer, hammered Angeli there.
Yeah, again, UConn does a good job of disguise. And number 6, you're going to see he's going to come from depth on a little bit of a delay, gets that free run. That's another big shot that Angeli has taken.
Tough kid. He stands in there. He took some big hits against Tennessee last week as well. 2nd and 10. Just a 4-man rush this time. Angeli finds Valari. Big gainer inside the UConn 40 to the 35. It's a gain of 26.
Valari, who was so crucial at the end of the first half, when they're able to kick that field goal there, they get a little bit of time. He finds a window.
1:30 to play. Angeli rolls out. There's Jonte Cook again. Had it and lost it out on the sideline. It is a completion and a gain of 4. Valari's now up over 100 yards receiving today. 8 catches, 104 yards.
Yeah, nice job again. Angeli doing such a nice job throwing on the run. And we'll see there that if you Cook just kind of stayed on the sideline on that one, little gingerly getting up.
Came into this game a game-time decision. Tyshawn Russell takes Jonte Cook's spot. Pressure coming. Angeli, a sidewinding throw. Russell brings it in. It's another Syracuse first down. Angeli had to change the arm angle there with pressure in his face.
Yeah, again, so poised. UConn again, only kind of bringing 4. Almost the Huskies have been able to get there. I think you got to keep dialing up that pressure.
1:24 to go. Syracuse has 1 timeout to work with. Orange need a touchdown. Will keep it on the ground. Nixon cuts it back and finds the 15 right at the first down marker. It's a new set of downs for Syracuse on a 10-yard gain.
Yeah, nice cutback by Nixon, pushing out to the right, finding the seam to the left, breaking the tackle for that nice gain.
Play action. Angeli to the outside. Ross Simmons the catch, and he shakes off Chadwick out at the 6. 2nd and 1. 1:03 to go. Do you start to think about clock management the other way now if you're Syracuse here?
I think you worry about getting it across the end zone, which has not been easy today.
We do bring Yassine Willis in here. Obviously now you have the full playbook that you can work with 1:03 to go in that timeout.
Yeah. It's got you tight end working to his left.
Willis surging over the 5. 1st and goal. Syracuse down at the 3.
This drive, a little bit more sense of urgency, mimics their opening drive of the game. Now, they couldn't finish on that drive. Can they finish here?
Have not scored a touchdown on their first 4 red zone trips. Willis bouncing to the outside, turns the corner, he's in! Touchdown, Syracuse! Yassine Willis puts the Orange ahead with 48 seconds to go. And now you need to go for 2 to try to build the 3-point lead. Ten-play, 80-yard touchdown drive for Syracuse. Took just 1 minute, 18 seconds. And now Syracuse looking to go ahead by 3 and at least be protected against a field goal winning it for UConn.
We saw the last time, tried to go with the lighter, kind of hook and lateral.
Jonte Cook is back out there, the slot receiver who could be a target in this situation. Angeli throwing back in the end zone. Gill brings it in. 2-point conversion good. And the Cutes go ahead by a field goal. Well, it was ugly all game long. It's one thing about Fran Brown's Syracuse teams. They never quit. Big comeback wins last year against Virginia Tech and Miami. And scoring 15 points here over the last couple of minutes.
I said it wasn't pretty getting to that point, but when they needed it, they kept themselves in a position. Here it's going to be Willis. He's just bouncing it to the outside. Again, keeping on the ground where we talked about Yassine Willis, maybe some of the touches that he should have had. They give him one here when it matters. He gets to the edge and blocking out there on the edge. A little bit of a tug, but still able to get around the corner. Then here, they pick up the pressure. And Gill, who was kind of quiet in week 1, he's made some big catches here today. They're working along the back of the end zone. Angeli finds him, and a great job. Angeli, listen, he's taking some shots today. he's had some lulls in terms of accuracy. When they needed him most on that drive, he was pinpoint.
He's thrown for 162 yards just in the fourth quarter, Steve Angeli. And a couple big runs, Nixon and Willis. Now Syracuse's defense needs to make one more stop. They forced 6 consecutive UConn punts. Jaden O kicks it over the top of Mel Brown. UConn starts this 25, needing a field goal to tie and a touchdown to win. The Huskies do have all 3 timeouts.
And if you're Syracuse, first job number 1 is to know where number 1 is, Skylar Bell. He's the big play threat within this offense. I think if you're Syracuse, you've seen Fignano, the UConn quarterback, escape at times. Not the most mobile quarterback. If I'm Syracuse, I'm trying to get in his face, dial up some pressure, force him to have to try to make some throws without getting his feet set.
That is Skylar Bell, the biggest playmaker for UConn there on your screen. He is matched up with the 17-year-old cornerback, Demetrius Samuel.
They got Chestnut shaded to that side.
Fignano looks the other way, uncorks one. Oh, Porter wasn't looking, ball's up in the air, and incomplete. It hit Shamar Porter in the face mask, but he didn't get his head around.
And Brahim Long, number 0 there for a big chance to seal that game. He got it. He had his receiver, just, as you mentioned, either off his shoulder pass or his face mask, and Law just outside of his fingertips. Big chance for Syracuse for a turnover there.
2nd and 10. Syracuse drops back, only a 3-man rush. Reese gets there anyway and forces the incomplete. David Reese off the end gets to Joe Fignano.
Yeah, Reese, the veteran, 8th-year player coming off the edge, just winning with speed to be able to bring the pressure there. So I mentioned, you can get after Fignano.
3rd and 10. Four-man rush. Reese is there again. Fignano gets away. Throws under pressure for Bell and overshoots him. 4th down.
Fignano is able to escape that, but the pressure from Reese once again able to disrupt that play.
And it's 4th and 10.
They disperse, and they've got all their complement of timeouts to work with. They've got to get this first.
3-man rush. Fignano down the seam for Bell. He brings it in. Skylar Bell, a one-handed catch under pressure, keeps UConn alive.
That's, again, I think he's one of the more underrated wide receivers in all of college football. When they needed a play, said you got to know where number 1 is. They had coverage there, but wow, what a catch from Bell. They only bring 3, so Fignano's got time. You see Bell right over the middle of your screen, break in, and just goes up in between 2 defenders. That's a really nice ball, too, as well, from the 6th-year player, Joe Fignano. Watch him go up to concentration with the left hand. There's a defender right there. He's still able to find a handle, trapping against his body. What a catch. I mean,
it's not just a one-handed catch, it's a one-handed bobbling catch with Deuce Chestnut getting his hand up there as well. On 4th down and 10, UConn with life into Syracuse territory. 2 timeouts now remain for the Huskies, 23 seconds. We saw the kicker, Chris Freeman, make one from 54, which means you need to get to the 37. That's about another 11 yards for UConn. Four-man rush. Fignano over the middle. Oh, nearly intercepted. Coverage by Long. Deuce Chestnut had a shot at it as that ball was intended for Ty Jaukio Bowman.
Yeah, Long there with the coverage as well, a little bit behind.
There's the grad student kicker, Freeman. He's made 3 over 50 in his career. As Long, 53.
They've got 2 timeouts, plenty of time to work their way in the field goal position.
Vignano, a quick hitter on the money to Skylar Bell. He's wrestled down there by Samuel. A gain of 9 and a UConn timeout. How about the 17-year-old Samuel continually being matched up here with Bell in crunch time?
Yeah, shows the confidence that they have in him. Big time recruit for them at one point. Committed to Florida, able to bring them across the finish line. And even you saw it last week, there were highs and lows, but one thing about Samuel is he has shown that short-term cornerback memory where line up, it's a new play.
11 seconds, now 12 seconds to go as they've added a tick on here after the timeout. UConn's had the ball to 39, so right now it'd be a 56-yard field goal. That would be a 3-yard career long for Freeman. So at minimum, you're hoping to maybe gain 5 to 7 yards here, make it a bit more manageable for the grad student kicker.
Well, you still get, you still pick up that first.
And the whole reason UConn is here, Craig, is because of this unbelievable grab by Bell.
Yeah, again, I mean, it was a beautiful throw in between 2 defenders by Vignano, and then Bell just helped his quarterback out by going up and making a beautiful catch.
Third and 1. Vignano for Bell, he pulls it in, he shakes the first tackle, but Samuel gets him down by the bootstraps at the 23. Timeout called by Mora, 6 seconds to go. UConn uses its final timeout and will likely need to kick it here, and they will send the kicking team out with 6 seconds to go.
I mean, listen, that was they got the yardage there, but that was a nice tackle, not allowing Bell to get out of bounds.
So you're looking at a 40-yarder here, ball on the 23. In fact, the holder, Connor Stutz, who's also the UConn punter, has his knee down at the 41. It would be a season long for Chris Freeman, who was good from 38 earlier today. Freeman trying to send this game to overtime. Snap is good, kick is good. Put it inside the right upright, and this game is tied with a second to go.
Good poise by Stutzman too. He bobbled that snap a little bit, recontrolled it, got it down. And Bell, we said we got to know where number 1 is. Made 2 key plays on that drive. One to keep it alive with that 4th down catch, and then that one right before the kick. They put it in a more manageable kicking situation, and Freeman delivers.
So Syracuse was down 17-6 with about 6 minutes to go in this game. Scored 2 touchdowns to build a 20-17 lead with just 42 seconds to go. UConn converts on 4th and 10, gets into field goal range. Freeman comes through, and barring something bonkers on this kickoff play, we're headed to overtime.
Well, as you mentioned, Malachi James, one of the fastest players out there. He hasn't had very many opportunities all season to touch it. You said it's not a matter of if when. Does he get an opportunity, Bill?
That's what he told the reporters a couple of weeks ago. This kid ran a 10-1 100 meters in New Jersey last year, set the state record at the high school level. That being said, Freeman's been pretty good at kicking touchbacks all season long. And he hammers this one, so he'll kick the touchback as well. You'd imagine Syracuse will sit on the ball, take the knee, and take this one to the extra session.
Yeah, I mean, listen, to be in this situation, if you're Syracuse with the previous probably 57 minutes.
Yeah, you would have signed up for it any time in the last 3 hours until about 15 minutes ago. Now, it'll be interesting to go to overtime because, yes, Syracuse scored in the red zone on its last trip, but remember, red zone issues were the reason Syracuse was where they were throughout the first 55 minutes of this game. You get to overtime starting at 25, you're basically in a battle of red zone offense and defense here.
Yeah, prior to that, it was 2 field goals and 2 turnovers on down in red zone trips.
Syracuse will kneel it here in the victory formation, and we are on our way to the extra session in this Northeastern rivalry between the Huskies and the Orange. Syracuse and UConn headed to overtime. It's been a fun one here at the JMA Wireless Dome. Headed to overtime, UConn and Syracuse tied at 20. I mean, for a long ways, it didn't look like we were headed in this direction. Syracuse's offense had really struggled, but they go 73 yards for a second consecutive touchdown drive to take a late lead.
Yeah, despite some struggles, they got themselves in a situation towards the end of the game to be in control. There, Yasin Willis bounces it, punches it in there on the two-point conversion. He hits Gill along the back of the end zone. But then UConn, about a minute, would respond. This was a 4th and 10. He finds his stud receiver. Skylar Bell hit him again, but a nice tackle by the freshman Samuel to force him to have to try for the field goal to tie it. Freeman hits it. Now we are in overtime. So after some rolls at point, a lot of points in this game, a lot of action down this stretch that has led us into OT.
Yep. And here's where overtime rules stand now. So first overtime, you don't need to go for 2. Each team gets 1 timeout during the first overtime. Second overtime, again, you each get 1 timeout. You must go for 2. If we go to a third overtime, it is dueling 2-point conversion attempts the rest of the way until we finish, and only 1 timeout for the entirety of those 2-point conversion periods.
The team that wins the toss will have the choice of offense, defense, or end of the field to play, and you're going to call the toss. What's your tails? He's called tails. It's tails. You've won the toss. You're going to play defense. Which end of the field do you want to play on? Okay. Be 1st and 10. Syracuse going this direction.
So UConn wins the toss. They get the benefit of playing defense first. Syracuse elects to go toward its band and student section here.
I thought it was interesting that the other team's center and one team's quarterback were the 2 guys out there.
And that center, Wes Ho, remember he started his career here at Syracuse too. All right, so you see it here. We just talked about it a bit. The overtime rules. And you get to the third overtime, it's just alternating 2-point conversion. Syracuse had plenty of practice with that today as they went for 2 on each of their last 2 touchdown attempts.
Do you think maybe they regret maybe that hook and lateral didn't work, but pulled that out of the bag really quick?
Yeah. So the Syracuse offense takes the field first. You know, one thing to think about, they did score in the red zone on their last drive there to go up 20-17, but before that, 4 trips to the red zone, 2 turnover on downs. And then he had the 2 field goals. It basically is a red zone battle once you get to overtime. Syracuse starts overtime with a run. Not much there for Nixon, who tries to push the pile, but is stood up. Stephon Wright, who was down on the field a bit earlier, injured, back in the game and makes the tackle.
Yeah, him, Vincent Carroll Jackson also all in there. See number 55, number 92 in your screen. Those 2 big men not giving up any ground.
You know, if you're Syracuse here too, you're still not super confident in your field goal kicking game. Trip Woody, a new kicker, made a couple shorter ones, missed a longer one. UConn just saw its kicker make a big kick. You don't want to leave it to special teams here. And second down, Angeli to the air. Hits Nixon over the middle, cuts it back and gets the first down. A 10-yard gain as Nixon alertly picked his spot to fall forward.
And just a good job again. You see the poise from Angeli kind of going through his progressions, ultimately checking it down to Nixon, getting the first down. It's a 4-man rush by UConn. They do a nice job picking it up, comes right down underneath to Nixon.
Sends Angeli over 400 yards passing. He's thrown for 404 yards today. Play action, gets it out to Jonte Cook. It's well blocked. Cook cuts it back inside the 10. Syracuse takes 7 yards on first down. 2nd and 3. Lee Millette, the safety, on the tackle.
They're blocking out the edge, but UConn did a nice job just holding their ground. He's forced to cut it back inside, making the tackle.
Syracuse going quickly. Right back to Nixon. Tries to slither in a small gap. And he's down just shy of the first down marker. It'll be 3rd and less than a yard. Ben Smiley, the defensive end, makes the tackle.
Remember we started the game down here. It was a 4th and 2, and they got stuffed. Can they pick up the first here?
3rd and 1. Syracuse to the air for Ross Simmons along the sideline. Touchdown! What a grab! Just as Ross Simmons. Syracuse scores in overtime.
It was that Ross Simmons-Cam Chadwick matchup that kind of ignited their opportunity to come back. Here, a beautiful throw and great hand strength there from Ross Simmons. It was good coverage there from Cam Chadwick, but a beautifully placed ball. An outstanding, strong hands there by the receiver. He gets it right over the pylon.
Second touchdown today for Justice Ross Simmons, who was slowed in his first year at Syracuse with hamstring issues. Healthy this year. He had 50 receiving yards last week. Now up to 83 yards and 2 touchdowns this week. Trip Woody's point after can make it a 7-point game. And Woody delivers. So Syracuse scores to open up overtime. You mentioned the strong hands. That is a heck of a grab by Ross Simmons.
And Jelly puts it where only his receiver can get it, and he does that. Watch the way he extends, holding on to the ball. He's bringing it into his chest. It gets over the goal line, controls it all the way down to the ground. Wow, great play there from the senior. And again, a nice throw from Angeli.
Very slow start to this game for Steve Angeli, but now he's thrown for 417 yards and 2 touchdowns. And as you said, that throw was only where Ross Simmons could get to it.
Yep, and again, I was just impressed with the way he controlled it. Chadwick was there. 2 big plays in this fourth quarter by the senior wide receiver.
Well, UConn delivered when it needed to right at the end of the fourth quarter. Now the Huskies must score. It's Hansen into the backfield. Edwards on the first down run is going nowhere. Tank Wilson bear hugged him. It's a loss of 1.
He was helped off the field a bit ago. He's looking pretty good now. The big man, Tank, just crushing everything in his path down here. You see him against his zone, the way he works, maintaining leverage, just working right down the line. Syracuse defense coordinator said against that zone, you got to be in your gap, die in your gap. That's what Tank Wilson did all the way to make that play.
2nd and 11. It's a play action pass. Vignano airing it toward the end zone. Incomplete. Cornell Perry on the coverage of Alex Honig. Likely an uncatchable ball.
Yeah, I don't even know. Devin Grant, such a big part of this defense, has not been in there. Cornell Perry stepping in into that role, doing a nice job there in coverage. And again, it's one thing about Syracuse last year, every time they lost, they responded in the next week with a win. That looked like a tall order a couple hours ago. 2 downs away from getting it done here.
UConn needs the 15 for a first down. Vignano looking for Bell in the end zone. Incomplete, but a flag. Davian Kerr was there on the coverage, and the flag comes out, pass interference.
Pass interference, defense, number 10, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
It was right in front of the field judge, Michael Hall, who immediately threw the flag.
Yeah, always a tall order working. You see, working, trying to find, but you see how he keeps pushing, and then as he goes up, never tries to find the ball, just keep kind of leaning and pushing against the talented senior. He looks back once, but then as the ball is up in the air, he just keeps pushing on Bell. And you know, in this situation, in a must, they're going to try to find a way to get it to their playmaker. It's not a completion, but he does draw the penalty.
Half the distance to the goal, penalty puts the ball on the 11. Thrown underneath and missed. Juice Farine, 2nd and 10.
Yeah, tried to use a little misdirection there, and there was quite a bit of orange there. Luckily that just fell to the ground.
Vignano's up to 23 for 39 for 252 yards. Some big hits to Bell here late in this game. Bell now has 10 catches for 98 yards. He's alone up top against Chris Peel one-on-one. We got whistles and a timeout. Fran Brown went sprinting down the Syracuse sideline, so the Orange takes its first overtime timeout here.
30-second timeout.
And Fran Brown immediately goes to his veteran linebacker, Derek McDonald there.
Yeah, there's a little bit of confusion in the secondary. You can see, too, is number 2, Juice Chestnut, who was on the far side coming up. There was a little bit miscommunication on the alignment, obviously, with a chance to kind of seal this game, wanting to make sure. You're going to watch number 2 working at safety, coming down, trying to push the, and then they had the 12 as well as the defender comes off. So
I think that timeout saved the penalty. I don't think they'd gotten the 12th man off the field. Gordon Samus pulling the strings for UConn, the offensive coordinator, before a 2nd and 10. Bell comes into the backfield. He's open coming out of the backfield and dips out of bounds a yard short of the first down. 9-yard gain for Skylar Bell, who's up over 100 receiving yards.
Being creative ways to get their playmaker the football. They could also pick up at first without scoring.
You get a first down at the 2-yard line. Play action. Vignano's pass is broken up. Antoine Delorier, the freshman linebacker, soars in, and the game comes down to a 4th and 3.
Yeah, tried to pull it there. Delorier, again, a freshman stepping in, got the call pretty late before game time, finding out a week ago he would start against Tennessee. Here in that starting position, making a big play here late in this game. You mentioned huge 4th down here.
UConn needs the 2-yard line to extend the game. Vignano to the end zone, incomplete. Syracuse wins. It's Delorier again with the breakup. Syracuse comes back from 11 points down late in the 4th to get to 1-1, and it's one of those stud freshmen bouncing back, making the 2 key late plays.
Yeah, I mean, you watch that Tennessee game, he got this start, and at times you could see eye-wise and the mind racing. Here late in the game, the true freshman linebacker, one of the key parts of that 2025 class, he was able to make 2 big plays there in coverage, and Fran Brown able to find another way to come off a loss with a win. See him right there working inside against the tight end. He just gets his arm up. The instincts, gets that right arm up and is able to block it. Good job by the freshman linebacker. And Fran Brown told us yesterday he hates losing, but he loves getting better. And you know what? As the game went on, that Orange team found a way to get better and get it done.
It didn't look that way for 53 minutes or so, but the last 5 minutes plus overtime, some real growth for a young team to get that record to 1-1.
Fran Brown talking to Skylar Bell.
Now you see the dejection from UConn. This could have been a really big win for their program. They've got 2 more shots against ACC teams this regular season. For Syracuse, you look at those last few minutes, you know, 0-2 with the schedule they have would have been a really hard hole to dig out. Now you got Colgate next week, and you can really start to build some momentum before Clemson.
And there's a lot to clean up.
Yep.
But the thing about it is, Bill, it's always better to make corrections and get better coming off a win.
Syracuse comes from behind, moves to 1-1, taking down UConn 27-20 in overtime at the Dome. For Craig Halbert and our entire crew, Bill Spalding saying so long from Syracuse, New York, where the Orange are winners by the score of 27-20. This has been a presentation of ESPN.